go back to basics, go back on higher quality maps. And
Cafe is the first one.
And that's what exactly what they do. Actually, they pick Cafe, Jack.
Yeah, BDS have loved Cafe. As a core roster, they've loved Cafe for a long time. They had a recent drop-off, but then with the new team, they picked it back up into their pool again. So it's a map that they're going to feel super comfortable playing, and obviously that's why they've chosen it as well.
And the second map, particularly that we're going to be going this time around, is going to be Skyscraper.
This is super surprising.
Yes.
Super surprising to me. Because not only do they pick it, but also it means they start attack on Sky. One of the, CAG is one of the worst team in attack. They have actually one of the biggest delta between attacker win rate and defender win rate. But they do it against BDS on Sky? Really?
Yeah. And that's the big thing for me. BDS love Skyscraper. It's their #1 map preference. I'll be honest, I have no idea what CAG have seen to look at BDS on Skyscraper and go, yeah, let's pick that into them.
They have seen BDS lose 2 games already to PSG and Furia. Maybe that's
but not on Skyscraper. It's literally like we're talking about BDS going back to basics on their favorite maps. They've got 2 of their favorite maps here because CAG have picked their #1 map preference for them. So and BDS will get to start defense.
And we're going to go to Oregon as the decider, which is another map that just requires you to go back to basics. Everybody can play this map. So then you're sitting here looking at CAG and thinking, what are they cooking? Have they seen something that we haven't?
I don't know. I think at least the decider, okay, maybe I understand a little bit better. Oregon kind of fits their playstyle. It also lowers the skill ceiling. It lowers the strategic skill ceiling, which I think is better for CAG. But overall, if you look at the 2 first maps, I'm super surprised from this map, Vito.
Yeah, I'm very, very surprised. I think that Skyscraper pick just has honestly baffled me.
Okay.
Like, I'm very, very confused. Why? Like, don't get me wrong, CAG like the map.
Yeah.
But the last time that we really saw them play it properly was inside of the Japan LCQ against Kinotrope. Completely different quality, unfortunately. I think they need to, if CAG are going to win this, they really need to step it up, and maybe even they need to spring a surprise onto Cafe, because weirdly, I don't think they'll be winning their own map pick.
Well, it looks like on the analyst desk here, we are a little confused in terms of how these map picks went through, but let's check in with our casters. We have Dez and Fluke ready to break the action down, but I want to hear your opinion on BDS up against CAG at BO3 with the maps that we have. What do you think? What are we thinking?
It is a strange one. We were talking about it before as well and saying, yeah, this feels like it could be a 2-0 to BDS, but that's exactly why you have to be concerned that it's not going to be a 2-0 to BDS. And I was speaking to one of the translators here, actually, for the CAG team, and they were talking about Cafe on the way over. Apparently, they've got a lot of belief that that's actually their map for the taking. So they're cooking something. I don't know what it's going to be.
You don't want to be like, their decisions are wrong, but they got to prove us why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they will. We're going to have to wait and find out. So guys, please feel free to take it away.
Will do. Thank you very much, Ginny. Here we go. You're not Tim. It's me.
I'm a little bit taller.
I've got a lot more hair.
A little bit taller.
We love you, Tim, I promise. Anyway, this is going to be one hell of a series. We've cast these teams an awful lot as well over the years. CAG we've followed now for, what, 4 or 5 years. BDS, a similar sort of story. On paper, we all look at it and say this should be a BDS 2-0. But as said a second ago, that's why it may not be a BDS 2-0. Stop posing for the camera.
No,
Do
never.
your job.
Never. This is why we sort of look at these moments, and as we say, that map ban, and you go, why? Right? It's one of those big why questions, because why? You're finding yourself on Cafe. I think Alfama surprisingly put it very, very well. He's a very clever man.
Surprising.
He knows this team. He knows where their problems are. They're going to an intricate map. They're going to Cafe. You've got a lot that you sort of got to piece together here on Cafe. You've got what has to be almost a little bit of playing within the lines, which is where CAG want to try and stress the pressure, right? CAG want to try and push BDS round, find these opportunities. The amount of times Shurip has ended up clutching out rounds throughout this sort of tournament so far for CAG and just finding opportunities, that's what BDS needs to try and get a handle on.
And the ban's flying on through as well. The Ying not really going to surprise anyone. I believe we saw this band away yesterday by CAG on this map against E1, which they won 8-7. So clearly feel they know what went wrong yesterday and they can course correct for today. And we've joked for years. At one point in time, Monty was a 31% ban rate in the Japan League. And who was that because of? It was because of Cyclops. It was because of Aniton. No one wants to let him have hold of the Operator and Solis and Valk. A lot of intel being taken off the board there, or intel denial away from the Solis, but also then being removed in equal measure from the defenders with the Valk being taken away. So no real big surprise there. 2 big, powerful defenders off the board.
If you're unaware of the context of this game and you just found yourself slipping into the stream early morning or late night, I don't know where you are in the world, whoever loses this series, that's
You're
them
tall enough already, and you're
done.
wearing heels, and I just feel tiny next to you.
I know. Well, the thing is, I usually try and like take my shoes off when I cast. I'm wearing socks. I'm not Carter. I'm not an animal.
Are you going to take them off at some point then?
At some point, I
will feel better about myself at that time.
When the photographers have taken more photos of me.
Fragile.
Because I'm wearing very tall boots.
Well, we start down in the kitchen. I was about to say in the basement, but everyone always does. I heard the thing it was Parker and Pengu the day. Like, basement? That's not a basement. It's the first
It's not
floor.
a basement.
It is down here in kitchen, though, for this first one. So no big surprises at all to see the Echo being brought along by Anaton. I think probably the most, like, characteristic site for an Echo to be brought along is here. Can, of course, tuck away those yokai drones underneath the kind of trays, up in towards the rafters, and bring them out towards the round end when the plant usually goes down in towards bunker. Otherwise, I'm looking across that lineup, not seeing too much would-be roaming unless you kind of put the Thorn and the Fenrir as part of that mix. But, of course, the battle of losing the Fenrir too early on is you then lose the ability to control those FNAP mines, and so you pay the price as a result. On the other side for BDS, with that Ram and the Buck on side, it's a lot of vertical control, so you're probably going to see a full map clear from top down before they start looking for the execute.
They're slow and steady, and it's fair enough. You're looking at it as a set, a team that likes to sort of find opportunities, find those little pockets of space, and that's where things have been going wrong for BDS. They have to sort of pull their cards close to their chest, and that's where it's starting. Here at the top, that sort of pitter-patter rainfall down the building, which I love to sort of see in action, where you control that space, lock off stair sets, move one floor down, cut your way. You know you're shepherding them into not an entire kill box, but it's a very destructible roof inside that train room they want all eyes on.
I was really curious what the change was with this ban coming through the Solars, because they played this actually in 4 of their rounds yesterday against E1. Shuri was the man of the moment, running around on that Solars, causing absolute chaos. Here he's on the Warden, and you might go, well, the Ying is banned, so why do you want to bring along the Warden? I think it's the fact that we've got 12 flashes in back pocket here for BDS, Emmy. And you see this from teams like G2 as well. They won't really run the Ying, but they'll bring a hell of a lot of flashes and just look to overwhelm. Because although a Candela is obviously brilliant at forcing your way into a room, having 12 flashbangs to play with, you can rotate 2 or 3 and basically anywhere you want on the map, and you've got, what, 6 potential clears that you can work with? Really powerful when a team can coordinate them together, and all tournament long, despite the results, I praise BDS for their team play. The 2 or 3 man operations they carry out on individual players out on their own, for example, they're absolutely brilliant at it. So I think this is a really smart play from both sides, really. BDS playing in towards the flashbangs, with Shuri Pia anchoring down on that Warden as a response.
Huge amount of space that's been cleared, and now the pressure can start, but this first engagement, as I said, they love to explore, and there's a free bit of exploration. Solotov gone a rough tournament, but he's also, unfortunately, not quite found his feet or his fangs as much as Usus has. However, this is that point. How do BDS respond? Do they try and cement themselves, eyes towards Pila, or just continue the roll? The pressure is about to come towards Shurip on the back end. He has been the star player for this roster since his addition at the start of the split and in this tournament as well. Frequent rounds, but his cover is a little bit blown. The drop comes around the corner. Shurip, no true idea that they're inside the side, tries to put a little bit of pressure closer, thinks he might be a second too late, so instead, the movement over the top towards the hatch itself. Shurip, he's about to strike, he's about to catch the single bit of watch, and he doesn't quite get the angle. Users paying keen attention, but they stop the plant. The Yokais, they're going for the catch, they're not quite able to find it. EFAC gets it, and BDS, they're able to cement the plant itself. One more body back from the side of Anaton, but you think how close this was.
Look at that.
To not being in BDS's pocket. And they're at least making the use of utility at the tail end of this.
That's what I mean. You just get so overwhelmed by the number of flashes that they have at their disposal to use, and that's only with 3 players up on the board, not all 4. This was a really close round, and I really like the movement that I saw coming out of Cyclops. They found one, but with 2 more to go, and one of those being on the vertical, it's simply not going to happen. BDS taking round 1, and for me, for them, that is such a massive mental round to win. After 4 rounds against Talon yesterday, Leakafat was sat there shaking his head, looking like exasperated. And I think for them, there'll always be that question of, oh God, is it going to be more of the same compared to yesterday? Are we going to find ourselves losing silly rounds here? But that was a very well-controlled round, very, very solid. Again, CAG had a nice attempt there at retaking with Shuri, but it was well read, admittedly. The Bucks swing across from Yuzus.
I mean,
a nasty shot. If he dies there, that's a very different round.
If he dies there, think about the position he was watching. I'm not entirely sure who it was, who got the Echo drone as well. That it was sort of tucked around the corner. It was the coverage on the utility where, again, you know, one more Yokai pops off. You're looking at a 3-second sort of difference. There was the cover of EFAC on the other set of stairs. Just cleared just enough. Didn't quite get pushed far enough away, and think about it, it was a 5 versus 4 as well when the engagement, the plant was coming in. the trust of BDS to sort of go, no, stick your head down, Brede, hold it. We've got you, we've got it. Tough round, but CAG, they keep moving. They find themselves moving up a floor, not going to try and double down, and instead to the train room.
And somewhere Tim is beaming that we aren't seeing top floor being played. I was actually looking at the stats earlier on for all the sites that we've got. I think the most played one has been Oregon Basement, but the one that has had the most losses has actually been up here on this top floor of Cafe. So seeing us not step in there, that stat continues, and Tim will be again reveling in that wherever he's watching from right now.
Vindicated.
But I think the more teams avoid it, like teams do keep going there, at least some really gravitate towards it. But I think going away from it is good, because essentially on this site here, we're on that second floor. We spoke about this a lot over the last few days. If you can't defend the site itself, you tend to go and play it vertically. And that's what you're probably going to see coming out of Cyclops. A few players hovering upstairs. We've got a Pixel on Shield with Chibisu, for example. So BDS have got to work through the top floor, where a top floor site would otherwise be, and then get set up for an execute. It's almost like you've got to go through two sites at once. So you're giving them more to do here, more problems for BDS to try and solve. So I think the more that you see teams stick away from playing that top floor, the better.
A lot of damage.
Almost.
To Chibisu, playing a fairly known and prominent position. Obviously, you assume some ex-Kairos is going to pop around the corner and get the destruction done on towards this wall sooner rather than later. They have all that they need and then more, really, but the force is on the verticality. The first step, you can see the pressure coming over on towards the cocktail side, the back end, and just hoping that as the players get forced further and further across, if they go for the hatch drop, they'll end up in the waiting guns of EFAC and Usus.
It's like you'd be forgiven here for thinking we are attacking this top floor, because you've got so many players upstairs, 4 of them, I believe, on the side of Cyclops, causing a little bit of chaos. In fact, no, Anderton's down inside a train. I tell you what, they have not shut up for the last half an hour.
That's Beast Coast.
They are so loud.
I believe that's Beast Coast.
I mean, Ashen's gone home, but someone else has got to take on the mantle, I guess, and make a lot of noise.
Ashen lives.
It's crazy.
Chibisu dies. The spirit has left this plane, and, well, so has pretty much everyone here. Everybody has either dropped off the floor or been knocked off it. Finally, Sireneko is fine, and that gives them that clear. A minute left. They have full vertical control. They have 3 of the CAG players killed, and as I said, there was no route, no escape. There's one more, no way! Shuri gone, Anaton, that star player.
Wow.
Seeing stars.
Much better. Even Leakypat looks happy today. I think this is what I've celebrated a lot about them throughout the tournament. I mentioned these kind of 2- and 3-man plays. That was really a whole team effort. As soon as you see a move come in, I think it was Usus on the rappel, looking to try and challenge the player that was on the mirror window inside a cocktail. At that exact moment, that's when Shoiko starts his move coming in through Cigar Shop, in towards Bar, and gets the kill in towards Storage. And at that point, there comes a chaos for the side of CAG. You've lost 2 players. The angles that were previously covered no longer are. And BDS just keep on marching forward. It's what they've done, as I keep on saying, all tournament long. And I know it hasn't always given the best results. We'll never forget that game against PSG Talon, for example. But even in that game, you did see that team play coming out, and that is still present here today, which is a good sign for them.
It's this strange sort of look into this world of BDS. There's obviously been the conversations about they're learning their comms in English, they're trying to piece together a roster. It's a superpower roster that played very, very well throughout EUL, but there's been a little bit of a balance shift getting into the major. Usus, who was the top player of all of EU, is the bottom-rated player coming into this play day for the side of BDS. He hasn't quite been able to find himself at the top of the kill game. CAG, they've been not quite towards their part, but they have still sort of stayed as a unit, and that unit play is what we're getting here from BDS. As you said, it's not the hero plays. It feels like it's more going to the plan that they're able to operate on during their time in EUL.
And not forgetting for CAG as well, they've had Didi as a coach to them now for, what, 3.5 months or so? It's not been a long time. And again, Victor, the translator that I heard him saying earlier on about Cafe, they were talking about it, they planned to go to this map, they knew BDS would pick it. He was saying, you know, the boys have got a lot of faith in Didi, and they're improving every single day. You kind of hear the way they're talking about the game. They're so much mature now with the addition of Shurip and with Sireneko coming in not too long ago. I think before there was that kind of, they're the silly team, they're out the windows, everyone runs shotguns, all that kind of funny stuff. Whereas these days, they are much more kind of, I wouldn't say professional outfit, because they were before. They were putting up good results at previous majors. Let's not forget as well, one of the most consistent Japanese teams that we've got. But I think now you're seeing a new kind of level to them, but it will take a couple of events to really see them come to their force, come into their own, I guess. But to be against BDS this late in the tournament, it's still a good sign that things are improving.
As we find ourselves here on Tim's favourite site, the pressure is not too contested inside the Christmas area. They've got the wall sort of fully reinforced. They've got the mirror window looking across, but with this clearance of the bandit charges, with the assumed Brede about to start popping holes in that wall, it will fall away from them because there's no real way to directly contest if they wanted to try and get it from the piano side, if they wanted to try and put the pressure on towards the back end. But how much focus, again, are BDS going to pay it? They seem to have their takes in mind, and they're not really shuffling or shifting too far away from other takes. I say, EFAC with a great catch onto Black Grey, who unfortunately has been not great on that enemy statistic throughout the tournament. Solitov with the swing. Oh, a C4 does get one, but they then get the site. BDS just keep going.
And again, look at how fast these kills all come together from the side of BDS. They move as a unit, but Cyreneco's just walked up white here, along with the Jaeger behind him, and retaking ground that they'd lost just seconds prior. Choker could be in trouble if he's not careful to his left-hand side. Steps a little bit closer, flashing back pocket, but the swing comes through, and Cyreneco lands a wicked shot, down to a 2 versus 2.
Once again, these two, the new additions to CAG, are just proving their worth time and time again. Brede versus Users. There are also two players that are more than keen around their own fair share of clutches. Have a 2 versus 2, time to build as well, but they're on the wrong side of a mirror window. Users doesn't care. Gets the header, Shurip, and leaves Cyreneco on the site. Now the pinches his left and his right. Perfectly played by BDS.
And that was the kind of play that you would see BDS lose against PSG Talon. For those who didn't watch it yesterday, I think it was Misa who hit a 1v4 on the, wasn't 1v4, he got a 4K on a clash with the closing 1v2. It was absolutely bonkers. But the composure they've showed there, they've lost a key part of the map. All right, we've let them slip through the net. There's a problem here. They've then managed to regroup, and even in the closing end of that moment there, both players coming in together to form that crossfire onto Cyreneco means that even if he gets one, there's essentially a guaranteed kill coming in from the other direction. So great play from BDS, and no huge surprise that now CAG are down 3-0. They want to tack timeout on the defensive side of Cafe.
The more this half goes on, the more worried I am about map 2.
Yes.
You're looking at Skyscraper. You're looking at a map that the playstyle that BDS are doing very, very well here, that they've struggled with on the previous days, that they've sort of stepped themselves into of this is the process, we live by the process is killing all of our enemies. There's a lot of snappy takes as well, and it's nothing that's really being pushed aside. Skyscraper lives for that, loves for it. It's just Cafe 2, the awakening, and I mean, they're taking the timeout. Let's see if they can start trying to put some pressure on, because there's just so much freedom BDS are being given in the sort of opportune build-up.
I just look at it again, and even as I watch the replays play out, they're winning those crucial gunfights as well, which has always been the terrifying part about BDS. When you combine that excellent tactical play, the team-based play, with excellent gunners, of which we've got 5 of the best in the world in this squad. Maybe not consistently, but at least when they're on their day like they are here, they're hitting these shots, and they're nigh on impossible to stop. It's just when that starts falling away that you start getting worried about BDS, but at least here today, it's their opponents that are feeling that pain rather than BDS themselves.
10 seconds.
Well, how much of a conversation can really change fates? Now, there was a moment in this round at the very beginning of the game where it was a little bit close, closest it's been so far, even with that 2 versus 2 clutch. I still think a few seconds in a 5 versus 4, that's pretty good standing for most defenses. If they can just find that extra 5 seconds, if they can just explore the pressure that they can apply onto BDS, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's possible, but you gotta try.
And they've changed the lineup quite a lot here as well, CAG, so this will be a very different round coming out from them overall. You're still going to see things like the Warden. It's not in Shurip's hands this time around. He's onto that Azami. I think probably their read from this as well is, well, we're not seeing any Lion, we're not seeing any Twitch. We've got one DMR, sure, in the form of the Decabi coming along, but probably also acknowledge they haven't seen that picked up by BDS so far. So a change from them, I imagine, in them seeing the Azami coming along and thinking, right, to counter that, we need a DMR. That's what we're going to try and use the Decabi for. So BDS reading into the changes coming out of CAG still and then responding in kind.
I mean, what an execute that was. BDS encircled the top players. Shurip's now under a huge battle pressure here. Trying to hold on to the stretch. Chibisu isn't too far away, and he's just sort of acting as the front of the push. I said that, you know, they're trying to waste time. They want to see if they can extend those opening 5 seconds, but BDS, they're really playing against it. Users.
I mean, the obvious question is, why have you got a smoke playing off on the roam? Like, this is a site where denial with smokes can be so potent. Yeah, Chibisu's been caught out there without barely a whimper on the other side. You still got Shurik dug in here, still looking to find his first kill of the game, but again, he's being hit from two sides by members of BDS. And this is the problem, they just pick off one man at a time with these multiplayer pushes. And CAG just don't have a response right now. They are being absolutely eviscerated.
I mean, it's terrifying. It's one of those games that we sort of had in the league where BDS would go against the lower rated team. BlackRay gets one, sprays and hits a little bit of damage to users, can't find the connection with the secondary. I mean, needed to take a risk, and Anaton believes in the same theory.
This is just not anything to do with the site, this game. Everything is taking place on the second floor. It's ridiculous.
Oh, users! He looked away, but still one out the cover. Look, he looks away. And then he's back.
Checks back, yeah, the call must have come through. But again, they're like, nothing's going on the site there. This is all an off-site scrap, but CAG just can't really tell the pillar from the post at this point. They're just being dragged around, and for BDS, I keep on saying it, but these 2 or 3 man plays where they're isolating individuals is just a little bit ridiculous. That first kill, I think Cyrenaica did not expect to get pushed so soon, and that's the mistake they'll look at making. But here's a wonderful example. 2 players coming in from red, 1 coming in from fireplace. Like, you can't deal with that.
They knew, as you said, they would probably come to Cafe. I don't think they feared Cafe enough.
No.
It's exceptional for BDS because although it can be a bit sticky on the attack, if they're in their sort of element, and granted, they haven't been. But again, I sort of cite the statistics. How they got to this point was led by the best rated player in EUL users, who hasn't had a great tournament, is currently sitting 7 kills. No deaths.
He's farming.
He's having a good time. Having a good time.
Absolutely. I mean, I always like the benchmark to look at the other team and see how many kills have they collected across the rounds we've played so far. And Cyclops have got 7 across 4. Less than 2 kills per round just gives you an idea of how dominant this has been. Now, that last one, especially the one that you'll look at and say, well, that really was dominant. I think it was round 1 and round 3 where they had a couple of players left up on BDS. So there's been an attempt made, but just nothing that really resembles success yet, as you can see by the score on the top of your screen. And Cyclops, now they've had that attack time out, this is your defensive side of Cafe. You've got to attack yet. Do I see them bouncing back and getting 4 attacks of their own? Absolutely not. No. And that's assuming they even get anything in these last 2 rounds of the defense.
You're hurtling at this point to what seems like a very quick series. And I don't know where CAG need to look because, let's be honest, it's just that BDS have suddenly stepped back up into a game that has been missing. Solotov gets one, gets traded. BlackRay was ready and waiting. It was a little bit direct towards the side, probably the most direct that they've run at this point there. The attempt from Solotov struck out the building, trying new things, trying new bits of pressure here, and well, BDS, they'll go back up towards the top, go for the clear. Well, remember how snappy it was last time they were taking control of the top.
That's the first entry as well that we've actually seen traded by Cyclops. Across all of these last 4 rounds, we've seen the entry go the way of BDS. I think in the first round it was CAG that walked away with it, but it was never traded. There was no one ever nearby the player that goes down, so they're roaming very much as individuals and being punished. That's the first time we've seen them come together and punish Solotov for getting aggressive and claiming what he thought was a freebie. And those are the kind of things that you've got to do. You've got to match team play with team play. It's why BDS versus Furia was such an excellent game to watch a couple of days ago, is both teams were going at each other. There was always a response. There was always a trade. Here, Leakafat picked off for free. Chibisu walking away with that one. And again, the smoke in a spot to be quite aggressive, but a good spot at least on White here to deny up towards Pixel and can easily back down towards Sight.
Well, a little bit of a wasted utility there, but don't really know what's tucked entirely on the corner. A minute. And this is where Cyclops have started to step themselves back. You can see a quick rotate around the bottom of White. They feel the pressure across, and they know that they can try and play this with a little bit of wiggle room inside the site itself. BlackRay gets Shaiko drifted in towards Pillar. Again, these motions, these movements are ones that seemingly we haven't really had from Cyclops. Brede and Users left alone, a 2 versus 4. Now they could pull up for 2 versus 2, Terry. We know that from a couple of rounds ago. 30 seconds, half the time, and double the Japanese players to get through. Will this one peel itself in? They're seemingly going to try and tuck a plant here just inside the reading doorway on towards the default. You don't have to get the most amount of ground. There's the first fight. But he's a smoke canister ahead of him. Users has to go for a quick rotate. They're pulling out pins. There's a player around to his right-hand side that I don't think he knows that, well, he'll actually just pass right by. But at this point, with the kit from Brede having to go in on the reading door, there's the drop of the kit, and there is at least one, but only one which is currently also Cyclops' round count.
There was so much to try and cover off there as well. You had to worry about brown stairs, for example. You had to worry about the vertical that you've now abandoned. Again, though, good team movement coming out of CAG, retaking that top floor like we saw Shuri trying to do back in round 1. So although we're seeing them lose generally the gunfights and not quite playing as a team when it comes round to those gunfights, I think their overall macro movements aren't terrible from Cyclops. They are just being picked to pieces by BDS. Still, it's around on the board. It's a bit of breathing room. It means they aren't going into the second half staring at match point every single time.
That's nice.
But it's still only one round.
It's still only one round. And, you know, they might get to Chibisu. They're just these motions. This is something that we saw in the very first round and went, maybe CAG's got a bit of fire. Then it got silence. And it's not that they weren't attempting it, but they were so far from successful with it. BDS had that game cooked. They were more than ready.
Well, they are going for the chonky boy comp in this round, aren't they? Look, the Warden, the Rook, the Doc, and the Echo on side. That's a lot of HP being stacked up. Really, it's towards Chibisu then to be the only one who's really can move around any particular pace here, of course, on that Azami again. Which means, again, on BDS, you'll probably see someone attacker re-pick in with a DMR on side. It's going to be Solotov on the Lion. There you go, the DMR to deal and counter with that. And it's all, yeah, that's all good.
It's a lot of ACOGs. Or ACOG potential.
This is a throwback to 2 or 3 years ago of CAG. That's what it is.
Well, this is, I mean, they once had a famous game against VP where they just spent the whole time looking outside the building, and VP, I think, lost to it as well. User almost caught out. There's a bit of control. The Lion is going to try and get some of this work done, but again, they're sort of cooking with the idea of, look, let's not let them set up. As I said, BDS a few rounds ago had a lot of freedom in the early 30 seconds to a minute, and they were making the best use of it. CAG have cooked onto that idea, and they're trying to freeze them out a little bit.
It's a teeniest bit. I think they've kind of had their early aggression, and I imagine BDS have like read into what's going on here. You know, users took a few shots. They had to go at Anaton as well. As soon as you realize there's 2 players trying to spawn peek you, it's kind of like, okie dokie, we get the gist now. Let's slow it down a little bit. Haven't got to go too crazy. Get the control that we need. Get to the building most importantly, and then worry about the rest afterwards. So despite bringing along all those scopes, as you say, none are really going to have the impact they need just yet. But don't count out those extra health points and what it can do for when it comes into those gunfights.
I said they had the chance at a scope, but actually not gone with it. Instead, gets the air jab and gets themselves adventuring. There's one and almost a second looked onto them and brings the balance back. Solotov suffers, holding onto Whiskey Window, but he's so concerned about another CAG player popping their head out, and rightfully so, because this is that exploration they've started to throw themselves in. Shaiko caught, Nomad gone.
It was a really poor air jab from Shaiko as well, like right in the middle of the open outside the door. Like, what's that going to stop? They can see it. Unless you're hoping they're going to charge out blind, of which you saw you put the air jab down. It's simply not going to happen, but I do fear it's a bit late now. It looks like they're inside the building.
Oh, Jesus. Drifts
He's on one today.
Drops Shuri. 10 kills, no deaths yet, and an assist. Fair enough. Solotov wants this fight, and the fight kind of wants him a little bit. They're still trying to keep the pressure up to buy time for potentially Cyrenaico to get his way back up towards the site itself. Chibisu is holding on, but here it is, Cyrenaico on that approach. Now, I'm thankful he didn't try and charge up the stairs, because 100% that would have gone wrong. Chibisu goes a little bit right.
That's not the way it needs to go, man. Solotop's in my fantasy team. Can't do me like this. Chibi into a second as well, and again, this is where BDS sometimes start falling apart. It's the only real, I won't say the only weakness I've seen, but the main weakness I've seen is when they do lose a player or two in silly positions, that team play starts to fall apart, and you've seen it there where Chibisu's opened a gap and got away with a couple. But Bride has managed to get a plant down with 3 CAG players still up. They've got to hold off now against potentially a multi-side push in.
Oh, the first fight is Chibisu's. It's all down to users. Will this be the round where he finally gets the end of his statistic? 3 players encircle him, and this is the pressure. Nice. It only takes one of them. CAG. 2 rounds tied in a row. Still probably not enough, but that's for them to prove.
Have you heard the line that I say on broadcast pretty much all the time?
Probably, but I don't listen much.
That's very fair. I always say there are 2 halves to a game of Siege. It's my favorite line because it is so damn true. 4-0, we were sat here, and I would be very surprised if those at home also weren't thinking the same thing. There is no way that BDS don't run away with this game and with this series based on the map draft that we saw, right? But with 2 rounds on the board, a bit of confidence starts building in here. You never know, this could turn out to be a very attacker-sided cafe, is how things might set up. Obviously, on expectation, that's not what we think is going to happen, but You just never know, especially at events like these. No one thought PSG Talon would beat BDS, yet it happened. Now we go on the defense of BDS. They're starting things off inside of Mining and Fireplace.
Shuri, unfortunately, a little bit absent so far from this
Who picked
game.
up in their fantasy team, actually?
You double-check that, and you can get your gloating. I will just rather bring...
Super has jumped into second place ahead of Tim now, so there's a problem. I've got to stave Super off.
That's feisty.
It is, it's important.
I can imagine there's a lot of fighting words. I did it once for the EU League. I was pretty comfortable in second place.
Ooh, Tim got Shuriep again. He said to me yesterday, like, I've got all my points out of Shuriep now. I've dropped him. I've got what I need. And now he's picked him back up again, and now this has happened. Suck it, Tim!
Tim! Mistakes have occurred!
Major mistakes, my friend. Major mistakes.
He has been unfortunately locked out of this game, and the importance of him as a player, not only in the roster where he sort of brought, I don't know if he was IGLing, but I know that he had a bit of command power in the structure, and it brought some sort of solidity to their takes. It brought them back into a rhythm where CAG had been blindsided by the new style of the game, by where the game had gotten to, and helped harnessed alongside the back staff. He just cannot find his teeth on these defenses.
I am forever nervous when I see a Glass picked up. We've seen it probably picked, I want to say 5 times since I've been casting in the competition so far. Every single time, it's either the Glass dies first or dies very early into the round, or everyone else dies around him and he has no smokes to be able to use to actually make use of his, his gun. The whole reason why you bring him is that he can see through smoke. He can see those yellow outlines. Very, very powerful. There's no Warden on the other side. Yeah, with only 4 smokes, in back pocket, they've got enough to work with, I guess. But why difference I'm already seeing here, 60 seconds in, look how many drones are gone for CAG. Reverse fixture when BDS were on their attack. They'd lost 2 drones by now, so already BDS are chewing through that info game.
Well, 5 smokes left, 4 smokes left, still nothing. The pressure comes around the corner, and Solotov isn't quite offering himself this position, has the keepers to maybe try and rebuild, but they're holding, waiting, and not really sure what they're hoping for here, because there isn't any pressure anywhere else. Oh, there's a plant, though. Chibasu, they've just taken enough on the top. They're going for the cover. Oh,
he got it!
Just in time! Finds the tip of the plant covered by the audio. It's a brilliant play, but they're going to go for the long arm. EFAX on the kit. They don't really know. They don't really have the position. There's the spray. They're too late. No, they just get it.
That's unreal.
Somehow finds the split. There's the pop back. Sireneko and Hannerton, they've got control of the top of the stair set. The important power position on the swing. Users, he juggles. Breedays on the kit now. They're like, Users, you're killing. There's the cover. Tucked round, rotated on reading, they've pushed up, and he's at the post, and he goes for the knife! But look at the time, Derry! It takes 1 shot, 1 bullet, 1 position! No!
What was that round? Wow!
Half a second! Half a second was the difference! Half a foot as a knife on a staircase, half a step for the final CAG player. Half a second.
That was ridiculous. It's just like, how many bodies can we throw on the diffuser? It's absolutely absurd. But fair play to BDS. You can't really prepare for those moments. You can't like have a coach go, cool, this might happen in game at some point. You got to be able to adapt. Who expects a diffuser to go down in a 5v5 in the middle of mining? It's absolutely absurd. But good recovery by BDS. They know to send someone towards red to get that cleared off. They know to watch out for the player, trying to round in through train as well. Again, good movements by CAG, but that final shot was all they really needed. Beautiful stuff, and a matter of milliseconds, I think, by all accounts, across the board. Look at Nika back here.
How close?
About half a second. Oh. Not too bad. Bro. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, as close as it could possibly get. 5-2, CAG. They almost got themselves closer towards leveling it up here. But instead, now they'll try and potentially bring this blitz, get themselves input pressure. Anaton, a world-class shield player once upon a time.
Oh, well. Take the Monty off, he'll get straight onto the blitz these days. I mean, we've seen, I think, the first game of the tournament, we had a Monty and a blitz ban come through because everyone was like, shields are just that broken. Like, we need them off the board. And some teams, I want to say, was it G2, ran 3 shields? Like, people really want to abuse shields at the moment. Obviously, it hasn't worked out too well for the teams that have really tried to lean super heavily into them. It worked pretty well for PSG Talon against BDS yesterday, though, so can't knock it.
I think that's the thing, is this sort of line of success also comes down to the shield player. There has to be a certain level of intelligence to take these engagements. Maybe that's why some teams are succeeding, others aren't so much.
No. Working your way through the entirety of the map here as Cyclops, and there's always the old school benchmark I used to kind of look at for teams as to how good or how not so good they were, was how long did it take them to start opening up verticals above sight, and 1 minute 30 was sort of the standard benchmark. Most teams landed about there. Those that were really good and quick and excellent at droning in the prep phase would get down there with about 1:55 left on the clock. The worst team I recall was Nora Rengo, who very consistently would have about 1 minute and 3 seconds left before they started on the verticals, and shock horror, their executes were always late, always rushed, and always punished. So here at about the 1:30 mark, CAG got themselves started. I'd say that's pretty much perfectly, as far as timing goes, it's perfect.
At this point, I think it's fair to say at least 2 of these rounds were about half a second difference to maybe being CAG rounds. They're not as far away from this game as they could have been once on this defense here on this site. Will they try and utilize that time a little bit better than BDS did in that moment? There's some pressure here on towards Shaiko. He loves playing just outside coat check. He can sort of put the pressure around onto bottom red, on towards the wedding, on towards the entrance on the far side of bar if he wants. He will contest these openers. You have to sort of force him out, and that's Black Ray's role, but Black Ray has struggled on entry. Oh, and he's just shy of finding the fight a second ago. Forced the smoke cover, saw a player, wins it anyway, and everybody's dead. Wow.
You gotta win those. and again, I gave a lot of praise to BDS, and so I'll do it to CAG as well. A good team play moment there where they took 3 gunfights at the same time, but if you say it so often, it may be an FPS. It's an FPS at its heart. You've got to win your gunfights. It doesn't matter how good the tactics and the timing are. You don't hit your shots, you're going to lose. And here on Cafe, BDS are hitting everything that Cyclops aren't.
Let's finish now.
6-2.
I mean, it could have been different. It isn't. That's the point. 6-2. They have a very good bit of control, a flawless on the back there, and I think that engagement we saw from the side of Shaiko kind of sums up how the gun game is really finding itself formulated between these two teams. There hasn't quite been the fangs needed, the blitz. You know when I said you need the smart blitz players? That's not a smart blitz play.
No, that looks a bit scrappy now. You watch on the replay, right, with the 3 gunfights coming through. Just one of them was used in a shooting galley. Shaiko just finding a freebie onto Red when surely I really thought that Red player would have seen Shaiko first, but apparently not. Potential last round coming up then here in round number 9. And it feels like it should be a BDS closeout.
I would be surprised if this goes much longer than 2 more rounds.
Users is 15-1.
Users
Jesus.
Has
100% cost, like 1-0 on the entry. The guy's just on one today. I don't know who's got him in their fantasy team, but I'm really jealous.
From this game, users might be going.
Oh, Tom Sherlock, oh no.
Oh, Tom.
I can already see it.
Boy, Tom.
I can already be like, on the users, boys! I can already see it now.
Man.
Honestly.
What we're looking at here is users from this map has gone from, I think, having the worst KD of BDS across the tournament so far to the best KD of BDS across the tournament so far.
Yes.
It wasn't the biggest margin. They obviously haven't played as many maps as CAG. They've only played 3. But still, what a day for him to go, oh yeah, I am the best player in the world
I'm
this
him.
game. I am him. And I mean, if he can keep this activation, obviously, they're playing the death games today. Even if they win this, they've still got to sort of keep dancing on that line. They've still got to
play tomorrow for that elimination 2-2 game, right? Or in that case, progression game, yeah. It's horrible to playing on that final day when you know you're at 2-2. Every other team there wants it as bad as you do because you're 1 game away from the live stage. Like, I actually think a performance like this for users especially is so important because it will give him that little bit of motivation, as long as he's not finding it too easy, of course.
Yep.
But that little bit of motivation to go on in their next series and really push forward. And we're speaking like the series is over. Sky, again, could yet be a big surprise for us.
Yeah, it could be.
We don't know. That's why it's always hard to kind of like plant your flag and say, oh, it's an easy 2-0, because you just don't know.
You say these statements based on history, stats, and performance of form. And today, all of that is lining up from everything that would have been brought into the tournament. Shaiko takes a little bit of damage, I think, from a Capital bolt on the far side. Solotov's position will get forced, and Shaiko will get shot. The pressure's in Cigar, and Solotov's actually going to try and cut his way across. Does get a lot of damage. There's the end. Fact with the C4 as well, and suddenly Shuip and Sirenako again shut out. Chibisu at least catches one of the fleeing players. But with the top pressure gone, a 3 versus 3, you now look at what is gone. The Capital bolts, you don't have any more of that cover. The buck as well to get all of that soft where the ramp was so impactful. They've got to do this. Heavy hit in specific positions. And
Chibi's going to run himself out of ammo having to do this. It's going to be ridiculous.
At least they've got some X-Kairos, but unless they're trying to get open, say, like the reading wall or trying to put some stress elsewhere at the bottom of white on towards dying, they're really just, again, firing and hoping. Use this as drifting for a fight, but to be honest, if you're 15-1 at this point, do what you like, mate.
Mate, get outside the building if you want. Give them a fair chance, and they've got a permanent red ping on you, essentially. I'm sure you'll still find yourself with a couple of kills. But I think even in this case, being a 3v3, it's obviously worth stressing for those maybe aren't aware. In the attacking situation, this is bad. You've lost the tools that you need for an execute for the setup. The defenders have lost Elysian, okay, Azami. You'd rather have this barricades than not, but you'll take this every single day of the week. Epat's come in, found himself 2. It's like a shooting gallery at a carnival. It's a 3K for him in the round, and Usage, of course, has to get his one, gets the kill. The BDS, that was so easy.
It's worrying, I think, but unfortunately it's also maybe a bit of a prediction. If you said BDS versus CAG on Cafe at the start of this tournament before anyone had played, you probably wouldn't have been too far off this result. Fantastic game of Siege played by BDS, and as an EU watcher, caster, yeah, it's about time. Where have you really been? But it's not over yet.
That always becomes the thing about BDS, right? Is they get to these big events, we all expect magic from them. We don't see magic from them. It's been a rocky tournament. Is this the start of something special? We'll find out. For now, though, the Dev's going to break it down for you. Let's go over there.
Thank you so much, Des and Emmy. I mean, is this the start of something special? I think that is a question that needs to be answered. But you know what? Yuzus had a very special performance this time around. It was absolutely popping off.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I think he went 15-1.
16.
16-9. So in 1.
16-1.
No, where'd you get those 8s from?
So no, it's actually 16 KD. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, I know.
We talk about records or whatever, and obviously it's not a best of 1 kill record or anything like that, but the actual KD number, I think, is probably the highest I've ever seen, a 16.0 KD.
What I find very impressive is take a look at his positioning every time. Like, he's always in an angle where he has a favorable gunfight.
Yeah, and apart from this one.
And even when he's not, he's always playing around in a safer position, always getting covered from everywhere he was playing. He's crosswalking every time, but actually getting support from his teammates.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I think the round you just saw on the Frost and the round that you saw on the Legion there, both of them big rounds where he also, it's not just that he was killing as a monster, but also he was bringing his teammates into it, getting the team play going. And that's the one big criticism that we leveled at BDS yesterday.
Yeah.
We said there's no team play, there's no coordination, and there seems to be a lack of communication. Sure, Users have popped off, but there appeared to be that coordination, communication across their rounds.
Yeah, the team seems to be a lot more in synergy, and something that you mentioned particularly, Leo, was the fact that sometimes we would see players leave each other behind, and the communications were a little messed up. It didn't feel like we saw that necessarily, but then I want to come back and look at particularly at CAG, because it feels like when we're looking at CAG, they just literally fell apart at the seams.
Yeah, we went back to this chaotic playstyle of, it was clear, you know, what they were trying to do. They were trying to spread, they were trying to burn time, and then peel off back to the bomb site. The problem is consistently BDS were able to find those holes. Like, this is a great example, for example, like, here you have Goyo, here, Sirenako. Look at Solotov just jumping in here. 2:17 in the round. He already gets the opening pick by just finding this opportunity. Doka calls to prevent a trade, and he hears that someone is coming thanks to the Doka call. So they're abusing crowd control operator, and at the same time, they're always looking for these entries. This is another example. Look at Solotov jumping in, 2:12 in a round, jumping in the bomb site, getting that entry again. So it was a mix from BDS, 2 win conditions. The first one, they have a very clear game plan, very clear direction, and everybody plays towards it. And at the same time, Solotov is looking for these opportunities, these holes left by CAG, to then exploit and get the opening engagement.
Yeah.
That's it. They just go out on the opening engagement. They're just on fire.
You say? It was like night and day difference from the BDS really we've seen so far in this tournament. Because the BDS we've seen in this tournament hasn't been good. Even the one where they beat SSG, it was a slog. It wasn't a clean performance.
Yeah.
We needed this from them. Their backs are up against the wall. We needed them to then just come out swinging. Map 1 on their map pick, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and that's what we're expecting as well from them on their map pick, and Skyscraper particularly being that next map. That's something that we're going to be looking forward to as well, because this could be BDS's chance to redeem themselves. So make sure you stick around, because we're going to be back after the break. BDS are putting themselves in the lead by securing their own map pick cafe, but we're going to be heading up onto Skyscraper. They're up against CAG Osaka. Both of these teams are fighting for a chance to remain in the competition. Didn't think I would be saying that about BDS, but after the performance that we've just seen them have against CAG on cafe, a 7-2 map with a 16-1 KD coming out from from users particularly. I mean, what more else is there more that we want from them?
Utterly ridiculous. Utterly like, what are those numbers? They are utterly ridiculous.
Check him, PC.
Check, honestly, the thing is about users, and I say this a lot, he's not necessarily known for this type of numbers, right? And think about this team as well. Shaiko, Leakifak, Solotov, who are all known for dropping those big numbers, but he can do it as well. I often talk about Users and I say, I believe Users is a top 5 player in the world. He was highly competent in Europe. You know, G2 have tried multiple times when this guy was on M&M before M&M to get him. Lots of teams in Europe have tried to get him. BDS finally got him. But he's a match winner. Now, sure, those stats were absolutely nuts, but he's more important than just one big pop-off performance. Across the board, he's the guy who will consistently win them games and win them rounds, even when it's in a bit of a tight situation.
Yeah, we have Skyscraper coming up, though, and then for me here, Leo, the question is this something that we can see BDS replicate? Is this a success formula that players can find more than just once in a lifetime game?
Oh, absolutely. I just think right now they're in the best possible setup. They've just won 7-2 in a very convincing fashion. I think Yuzu's performance obviously is insane, but I think overall, like as a team, they were also enabling him. I think looking at Skyscraper, it's one of the best map, and they're starting defense. The biggest reason why they were winning so much on Cafe, even starting in attack, is they had a very clear direction, and everybody was following that direction. It's even easier when you start in defense. You have your setup, you have your win condition, you just follow that path, and CAG will need to be reactive. My biggest worry with CAG right now is that they keep banning Monty, and they're not able to go in the building if Monty is banned, actually. And that's my biggest issue. When BDS removed the Monty, I just don't know how CAG will problem solve. I remember this round, I think it's round 11 on Bakery on Cafe, they spent the whole round trying to get into Bakery, and all of them died just trying to get into it. Actually, Users was there, but there was no problem solving coming from the strategic aspect of things. No utility.
Exactly. You may be thinking, maybe try the Blitz, but the Blitz is infinitely easier to deal with, especially with the amount of Legion that, for example, Users was playing. And I think BDS will be fully ready for... On Skyscraper, you get two options. You can kind of full clear, you can spend a lot of time and really clear the map, or you can try and hit site direct on all of the 3 main sites that teams play. And I think BDS are going to be fully ready for that. I would expect them on to ban. I would expect them to play loads of Legion, Fenrir, whatever's available to help them on that sense.
So on these two styles, the biggest thing is whatever you need to do, even if you go for a full roam clear or if you hit sat directly, what you need to achieve is use your utility to get this control. Whatever you choose. And this is my biggest problem here. On attack, on Sky, you need to use utility, and it's not the strong suit of CAG.
And with that, the game is ready, so we're going to find out whether or not CAG is able to get back into the swing of things. We're going to be heading to Skyscraper with Dez, actually, and Fluke.
Devs?
Devs?
How many of you are there?
I mean, me and Dev do get confused a lot,
Yeah.
but combine the two as a new one.
Devs.
I thought you knew better. Come on.
Multiple devs. A million devs.
Well, we are all turning into devs up there in the green room. We're all sat there in the Google Sheet queries, coding.
He lives the query.
He does. Yeah, you're in there as well. You're like, want to see my code? And I was like, here we go. Everyone comes straight back for it. Cool. Sky, in we go. Cyclops, they start on the defensive side, and a quick rehost. I'm going to sort that out first and foremost. But by the looks of it, they will indeed start on the defensive side. In fact, will they start on the defensive side? I don't think they will, you know. I have to go and double check in the sheets in a moment. That might be what the rehost is about. We'll find out, though, in just a second. But I think as we've seen all of us speaking about, so far going according to plan for the side of BDS.
Yep.
Cyclops, a couple of moments of goodness in the player thing. I've appreciated that a couple of times they've tried to make these double-up plays into members of BDS, but the problem is, where they're doing it 20-30% of the time, BDS are doing it 90% of the time. It's almost like everything Cyclops are trying to do right now, BDS are just doing better.
It's so worrying, right? When you're sort of setting yourself up into this situation, when you know that you're going to be, you know, building into a map like this, as they were putting it on the desk, the idea of how important utility is for the approaches, for the control, for just the movement inside Skyscraper, something that they were not able to ever really get a handle on. At this point, you're just kind of waiting for the pressure, waiting for the inevitable.
Oh, that's what I said. I heard like a distant voice, so I was like, I got no idea what just happened. Then it's like, oh, we're on screen. Hello.
We're on screen for the moment here. I'm Fluke. That's Devs.
Deb, please. Can we
Dev.
not make this a thing?
Debs.
What, is Deb casting on the other stream right now?
Yeah, he is. He's casting.
Is he also being called Debs at the same time?
No, I think he's being called Dez.
Oh, you can't get away from it.
Or Carter's new parent.
Or that. That is true. To be fair, we were talking about our height difference. Over there, it's a
Yeah.
much different story.
Well, like that meme where it's like Tyler 1 and...
Pull off a really poor pose.
We're just getting in to the map. There's a little bit of a rehost very quickly. Just
Should make that fourth one how a rehost has to happen, because you get back into lobby, but because we have player cams when you're in games, when we switch to someone you can see what they're on, we have to have the players set in an exact specific order. So they have to join the lobby one by one in the order prescribed. So it's like Solotov will join, they go, okay, Solotov's in, Leakifat, you're next, then Leakifat joins. And you keep going through all 10 players until you're done, but you've also got to balance, what, 10 to 15 other observers in the game for like the individual POVs. There's a lot of people to get into a lobby, essentially, is the way to think about it.
There's 12 observers I can currently see connected to this map alone. One for every single player.
Then you've got free cam, top down.
Then the free cam.
Yeah, and backups.
And then backups.
And the admins.
And you know what? When we get to the live stage, that gets even bigger. Even more people connected. And we get to see all of this and understand all of this. Nice mouse mat. There should be... What social
mouse mat rating.
Get a photo of every single mouse mat and see if people can guess whose is whose. Well, not every single, that's a lot of mouse mats.
Quite a lot of players just have like a standard black one though, like no frills about it.
Black's cool, baby.
You can imagine what kind of mouse pad I'd have, given choice.
Anime.
To be fair, I got one of the Soku ones. It is very anime and it is gorgeous.
Very
good actually.
How anime is very anime? That could be.
It's someone sat there
very
with with a sword. It's all Japanese themed. It's beautiful. It's really cool. And very smooth as well. Here I am. I promise you, I'm not sponsored by them. I just really like.
No, you just really like that mouse pad.
Yeah, honestly, I go through mouse pads. I don't know why or how, but I go through so many.
I'll do the opposite of a sponsor. I saw people just putting their drinks on a second mouse mat earlier.
Yeah, but then that's why twice so far this event we've seen players spill water all over their keyboards.
Has that happened twice this event?
To me and Tim when casting, yeah. Kino was one of them. I forget who did it the other time, but just.
Has anyone been eating food off their mouse mat yet?
We had someone munching a banana. I didn't see the banana being left on the mouse pad, though.
I'm sorry, Jackers, if you're out there. You may have noticed.
The trend of putting food on mouse pads is having a meltdown.
There was a thing recently, and we're pretty much getting back to the games, just redoing the bans, which takes a little bit of time. We had a lot of EU personas, talent, whoever, posting photos of them eating food directly off their mouse pad. That was specifically to irritate one person.
I mean, I thought it was funny at first, but then when it came like piece of toast on there, I was like, okay, I get it, that's funny. When they started putting like actual like beans and stuff on there, I was like, you're gonna stain your mouse pad now. Like, what are you doing?
I did?
No, what did you do?
I did cereal. It was it was like a blurry photo of
you are an actual idiot.
Pouring milk onto my mouse mat. And there was cereal in it. It was an old mouse mat. It wasn't my actual mouse mat, but also it was a very funny cursed image. Do you know what else is not cursed? This.
You know what is cursed? This game.
We're in. We're in. Start. Now, this was a conversation we had when we saw the bans earlier, and you were like, hey, Skyscraper, that's a pretty good map for BDS, I think.
3-0 on it this year. Yeah.
I thought, and I sort of threw myself back, I said, I remember the old BDS roster, when they had Renchiro, when they had Alems, being one of the first to really develop on towards this map. And I specifically mentioned their use of Clash, who they would run out onto that balcony, they would bring pressure. For me, they were one of the first teams I got a proper taste of saying, oh yeah, these are ways you can play this map.
I want to say the first time I saw it was an APAC team. I want to say it was Sandbox, or it might have been Sandbox that were playing.
I'm a Sandbox enjoyer, or
FearX now.
They're like my favorite team.
Really? Why? Because of the cats?
Yeah, yeah. That's a very anime skin.
They know what they're doing.
They know
what the people want.
How I was gonna say if this tweet gets this many likes, we will cosplay those cats.
Oh God.
But there's not even a tweet, so good luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck finding that one.
We start here on the top now for a very quick rub and run. If you've not really seen how attacks on this map happen, as I said, there's warning similarities to Cafe, but you will be cementing your self-control over the top, the stretch, whether you're going from north-south or south to north across the two top floors, you have to get out those players on the back end, Efac and Solotov, their attention here towards Samurai Window, back towards Shrine. You sort of knock them back as a three-step process rather than get the direct punch and limit their rotation up the house stairs.
The rotate away will be the game plan from Leaky Pack here. He's done enough to slow him down, get a few drones, and now wants to peel away. We didn't really get time to talk about the operator bans that came through here, but just worth touching on for a second. Both of these teams in their last played Skyscraper banned away the Izami. So Cyclops have kind of done a favor almost there, I think, for the other side. For BDS, though, they banned away the Ying. Here, they've banned the Monty for the same reasons we said on the last map. Anaton is an absolute god on that operator. Pretty much 9 times out of 10, you can guarantee Cyclops will draw a Monty ban for that exact reason. They've been tormenting teams around the world for years with the operator. I still remember the drop shot against Team 1 at the Mexico Major. It was absolute filth that sent them through to a tiebreaker game, I believe, as well, that they then lost against Team 1, who, as we all know, then went on to win the whole thing. So those are mainly the bans being covered off. The Kaid is the one thing that's a little bit of a misnomer, a little bit outside the expectation here. We see a lot of bandit play from Cyclops in the defense of this map, so I thought we might see that. But the Kaid, still electrification, makes sense.
Slow and steady approach. As you said, the Clash rotating their way in just to get that first little pocket of intel. The line, that hefty wall down the middle of the building is going to be that attempt on the break. Shaiko's inside. Okay, sure, but he's otherwise got his fancy spectacles on and he's happy to do just that. Tears the head off of Sireneko with the line in. The Clash is just revealing all the position. Shuri might have been able to move forward, but Solotov knocks Chibisu right back. EFAC underneath, and wow, it's just Shuri left. Uh-oh. Does the damage, doesn't get the kill.
But doesn't get the kill, no. Bit of insult to injury there.
Yeah.
I mean, even the first kill, like, Shireneko's gunfight was terrible against Shaiko. Like, you know full well he's about to lay down some bullets when he spotted you there. What are you doing? You're still showing an angle. You're not looking to swing. You're standing static. And, you know, it's kind of a swing or be swung kind of vibe. At that point, Shireneko's either got to really try and commit or back away from that angle. But instead he leaves just enough for Shaiko to go, all right, bit of pre-firing towards the head here, and surely it'll go down. And I think really we're already seeing that continuation of the previous map where across the whole of it, BDS just absolutely standing in every gunfight possible. Like, not even competitive, realistically. It's sad to say, because I really had high hopes that this game could be, it's that kind of great anticipation of will BDS be as they were against PSG Talon. Yeah, Cyclops have done some good things, as I've mentioned this series. They've had these cute moments of team play, but they're just not getting out of it what they sorely need. That first round, there was none of that. It was a lot of individual gunfights that BDS just absolutely domed them with. So, got to see something else in round 2.
The premonition of Alfama, utilizing his...
10 seconds to insert.
I was going to say, orb?
His orb?
Like, you know those like things that like people that see into the future use? What are they called?
What, the crystal balls?
Yeah, Tim's head. Utilizing that. And
we did that as an intro once, do you remember?
I do remember. I remember every single intros.
Who's the scariest in the morning? Goes, the Woogie Man!
I bought the VHS of all of your intros, all your top ones.
We did say yesterday we haven't done any intros for a while.
Yeah, I've been missing them. I pitched the one where we start and you're on a ladder.
Yeah.
Today, but
we've got to get a ladder.
We've got to get a ladder.
Well,
the original idea of forklift. Anyway, the start of this point, Alfama utilizing the crystal ball of Tim's head. More and more true. The utility that they had was used to force a clash back. Sure, we saw the Yin get into position, but nothing else happened anywhere else. As you said, it was all individual gunfights. Here, they stepped up, waiting to aggressively take this hop-out fight. Shaiko hopes somebody repels up or tries to lay and play a Claymore on that position, and it forces Anaton to just sit and watch and wait for somebody else to come in and offer the support. And yeah, they've obviously got the air jabs. They can try and make things a little bit awkward, a little bit trepidatious on the approach here, but send a second player, double dip, do the damage. It's not as confident. Shaiko knows this very well.
It's one thing I do love about this map is, at least on the top floor, there's a very kind of clear front line that gets established as teams are moved left to right based on what site you're defending. Here, for example, you've got Users and Shaiko. Shaiko you can see on Terrace, Users is dug in around Dragon. So that line kind of exists in the middle of the map, and what Cyclops really got to do, thank you very much, observers, what they've really got to do is move that line back in towards site and establish more control. So piece by piece, that's what they should be looking for. Yeah, Shaiko's now backing away because drones have come on through. He knows there's movement outside the window, doesn't want to overstay his welcome, but it does now give it a little bit more time for Cyclops to get their drone game going. And where I criticised them last map losing, you know, 6 drones inside 60 seconds, here they've only lost a couple inside half a round, so much better.
EFAC finds the first. Black Ray gone. The buck removed, and there is obviously some pretty nice usage of the rotations, the possibility of a sort of buck getting into these shenanigans, but again, Black Ray just having a very rough
great C4.
Perfect C4. Shaiko gets rid of
again, Shireneko taken out by Shaiko.
Again, there's the utility. Shaiko is looking for another engagement, trying to prolong it here with Chibisu. They've been able to get themselves in, but again, look at where they have to push. You talk about this line, you talk about the pressure, we talk about utility. They're trying to send a fight on a single door because that's all they have.
And they've got nothing on Shrine Window, so Usus is really uncontested up there. So this means BDS know the push has to realistically come through a single doorway. Like, this is not going to bother them at all. The only X factor they've got is Shurip on the display window. He's all they can really rely on to make a difference here, but it's looking rough.
Anaton does find Solotov. They're drifting with the long-range angles, but Shaiko's position should net a kill very shortly. Tucks for the cover of the blind itself, holding on the door. There's the spray. They did get two, and suddenly one.
Hello?
Okay. Exploded their way into sight. Usus was uncontested, and now he is the only contest left. But time is that factor. 10 seconds. They're trying to get themselves the cover of the kit. They have the pings exactly on where the player is. Usus finds it, but cannot get the connection. Shurip. I said he was this factor. Last time round, he was missing. Round 2, he starts to pop in.
I'm less perplexed by how on earth CAG have won that, but more perplexed by how BDS have lost it. They were 5v3. We mentioned that the only angles they had were 2 players coming in through terrace and 1 in the display window. All BDS had to do was wait around those angles, wait for the push to come through, and then take your gunfight. And I didn't touch on that in the first map because they were rolling over CAG. It was really hard to kind of criticize a player on BDS at that point.
Yep.
Solotov had some strange deaths on that first map. Not too many, but I was like, are you really dying there? The same just happened then. I'm like, how have you died to Anaton, who sat deep inside of terrace, and you just let yourself fall free to him? It was just a bit strange overall. But look here, 5v3 against BDS. You would not expect them to lose that one, but they do. And I just don't really understand how they've let it happen. Bizarre. And full fair play to, I know I've kind of gone on BDS there saying how have they lost it. You know, fair play to CAG for pulling off a 3v5, but BDS should not be giving rounds like that away.
No. And, you know, let's be honest, CAG have won a lot of rounds like that. They have this never say die attitude that was only really missing on the last map. They've been in this situation a lot. Most of the tournament, most of the games they have played have been ones where if they lose them, they're going home. This is the first time BDS are in that situation. CAG, they were able to cut their teeth. They didn't drop a map in the 2 do-or-die games they did play. And they're at least on the back foot here. But from this point, if they've been able to weather previous storms, who's to say? BDS can't be the next one they push aside.
And again, that was the big question coming in today. On paper and all expectation, BDS 2-0 this, but there's always that what if in the back of your mind of what if that isn't the case? Blackray.
Oh.
A matter of pixels. Sees the hair, I'm pretty sure, as well. Knows the Solus is around and
those
just
bunny
waiting
ears
for him to step, but so far catching absolutely nothing. When we try cast with Doki, he was saying it's actually mad how close players come to each other, but don't actually realize this is as close as it gets. They know that he's there, but just simply can't snip him out. And he makes the run. Sure enough, Blackray gets the head. The drone being sacrificed is a little bit of bait. To go back to that previous point, those 6 drones dead inside 60 seconds, Cyclops are going to be thin on the ground.
Again, you know, he's a player who's had worse luck. There, you're always looking, as a sort of caster, as an analyst, towards these games of what's missing and what can be added to change a recipe in the game in action. There's bigger questions to be asked of holds, but the small questions, and that is always going to be one of them. EFAC is gone, the Solace removed. The attempt to try and prolong that game underneath has backfired, but we've seen man advantages slip away before, and Shaiko slips his way back just inside lounge towards the minibar or sidebar.
Key one this time, Shurip's got himself up towards the north side, or did for a second. I thought he was going to try and work his way in towards Shrine. He's just Candela out that room, I think, and then stepped away, worked his way back around to go and join the team and get himself onto that display window once again. I think another thing else just reminding Usus there's a threat that he might come in through that direction. So really doing a lot of work by himself on this north side of the map, and Usus once again has planted himself in that corner, hasn't moved for the entirety of the round, and Cyclops have got full focus coming into Terrace once again. BDS should not be surprised by the same thing again.
Wiggle room is coming through,
Honestly,
and a C4 does
twice.
the same thing. Different player this time, and it's the Ace, which does offer the limitations towards, well, that main wall that they had, the tuck here on minibar, which they got open, started the pressure, and that was a bit of the drive here for their successful take last time. This time, well, they've got even less so far, but with the chance of getting the breach on the back end, rotating, the exothermic. Instead, they're just going to try and risk it and roll it and get this. If it gets caught out, it's a bit of a disaster. Solotov, he goes down in the meantime. They're not going to stick around and see what happens left. Will he get recollected? But there's 20 seconds. Whatever happens next is, do they really have enough time? The roll of the Candelas. Anaton rolls over Shaiko. Bride's on the back, but he's blind. Shuri finishes one. Bride does hold down the line. Looks for the second, but it's swung. Another 1 versus 2
again.
for users against Shuri and Zero Neko. This time, Shuri's going to hold on to the kit and get the plant. He's not able to
Again.
Same place, same death.
That whole round was scarily reminiscent of the prior. Same push, same focus, Terrace being the one, Users left in a 1v2 and being swung as the plant is going down inside of sight. Yeah, just even the C4 out and towards Drum was exactly the same. It was weird how similar it all looked. I had my eyes on Black Ray for the end of that round as well, because he was underneath the whole time, and I really thought they were going to try and bait a bandit trick onto the main breach and then get him up from below with the buck. But his instead movement came up the back stairs, trying to work up through house, because they identified last time round that Users was the problem.
Yep.
And they get a sidestep on him. He does lose out there, doesn't manage to have an impact. But again, those two newbies in Shuri and Sireneko do all the work you need.
They have been exceptional since they joined the roster. They have truly brought new energy to what seemed like a low-paced team, which is so strange to say, because every single person who was familiar with Cyclops Osaka, familiar with getting cagged, and it's cagging time.
It's cagging time, yep. Sure, in the chat they are cagging everywhere right now.
The one time I saw that a CAG-based banner that was brought to a major was
Gives it all whip it, surely.
It was at Jönköping as well.
Oh, really?
Where CAG, I think...
Yeah, I always think of that as the forgotten major.
It is the
because BDS won it, but like no one
BDS
ever looks back and it goes, wow, they won a major, like they did. But it was so like, I don't know, like no one really spoke about it. It was strange.
I believe they were 1 game short, CAG, of making it to the live stage as well, which is why they had the banner made. That sort of shows you how long it's been since we've really had them.
Yeah. I mean, they've always been kind of a staple at events. I think last year we missed them for one of them, and Scars were the only Japanese team to make every single event. But CAG are very much a staple of the game. That kind of fan culture around them, the Monty bands that Anaton always draws, the crazy plays that they used to pull out historically. I think a team that are very popular the world over, of course not always going to get mega results, but everyone knows of them. When you think of Japan, you tend not to think of Scars. You tend to think of Cyclops.
Black Ray wants to try and cut some of this progress quickly. He's in and he's up and he's looking for a fight and a scrap over towards the top. The house stairs. They've drifted themselves back towards Shrine. EFAC is in this minibar position and is that point of danger. Solotov is actually going to go for a little bit of a flirt with danger himself. Goes for the retake as EFAC escapes. Solotov, a loose thread. Now, as he said, some of his deaths have been questionable and, well, he's going to see if he can try and not offer this one. Holds a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But not much.
He's got the shield to sit behind here, so he's okay to play a little bit further out than the rest of his team. I think as soon as we saw that initial push come through, a couple of gunshots coming back in, which is what caught Anaton ever so slightly, and then all of BDS as a team, you just see that front line move to the left-hand side of the map. Of course, we're blessed with that top-down view that we have on the left side here, but you just saw that whole line move as a unit, not individual players dropping off. Everyone's got back to more safe positions, and units down here as well, potentially being finished off. Oh, just about sees him, but Shoko can't find him. And can't hang around anymore unless you lose your own life trying to finish him off. No! Shimisu's gone in to save him. And guess who's there? Users.
Users gets the kill, gets the retake, baits the player, and...
C4 over.
Well, at this point, I mean, they're going for the cross. They take some damage, Shaiko. There is some more pressure coming through, and they do get themselves close to Shuri, but they don't want to make the risk as of yet. The pickup is happening. Users is just holding the line for now. Do they know about how aggressive his position is? They find out there's a trade off the down.
Get crawling, my man. Right round to that back corner. Shuri's gone.
And there's deaths all across the board. Black Ray, the only player left standing.
Why not hit side?
Oh, why not hit?
Okay, a round worth forgetting, I think, for Cyclops. That was strange. They had this really big team-focused execute on towards Exhibition Office to get control of that part of the map. We saw the Amaru come in. We saw the the bees come out from the Grim. We saw flashes come in. They really wanted to force BDS back, and they succeeded. And then when they push into Terrace, everything falls apart.
Yeah.
And this is always the concern when you've only got one point of focus. Like, it's why I was really confused as to how BDS lost the 2 rounds they did, was most of the members of Cyclops are pushing in through a single doorway. It's a bottleneck. C4s can go there. If you've got a smoke, you can play smokes there as well. There's so much you can do to shut down pushes on that angle, yet they lost out to it time and time again. When played the reverse, when they're defending on the drum side of things, that's when they slam absolutely everyone there. Much better from BDS, a very well-controlled round. And for Cyclops, they'll be scratching their heads like, did you really just do all that? Like, yeah, I guess you did. Like, I don't know,
I
man.
mean,
It's just strange. And of course, Black Ray in for dramatic effect at the end of a round. I did think to myself, I was sure he would rotate away. That's what I mean. Even they're scratching their heads like, it happened, it's okay, whatever.
I mean, so far, the only 2 rounds that BDS have won have been on Geisha. We're back towards the site that they're 0 for 2 on. At this point, if they go 0 for 3, you obviously raise a lot of questions here. Skyscraper, it's a game of 2 halves.
It's a game of 2 halves.
There's a Chu Holt.
Yes, that's me.
It is your first name, actually. Derry's your just pseudonym.
Oh, what, sorry?
Is Derry short for anything?
People always ask me this. No, it's not.
Right.
It's an Irish name. I'm not Irish.
What?
Ask my parents. I don't know why. I've got 2 brothers. So there's Derry, there's Billy, and there's Tommy. They wanted to go for the 5-letter, like, double thing in the middle. They just kept it the whole way through.
Right, okay.
Funny people. I don't know.
Well, this is maybe going to be a little bit brisk. Shurip's in, and he's right on minibar, smashes his way through and gets down. How did that happen? The trade comes out in their favor, straight through the site. Solotov trying to go for the retake here. They're doubled up the same set of stairs. The castle will slow them down. The post plant is about to be upon us because, well, the Solace decided to try and go for the fight flat instead. And now, BDS trying to rebuild what was absolutely ripped from their hands. They thought they would slow the game down with the castle, Derry, but all they did was offer a very direct route for Cyclops to scream their way through. Solotov's out a window that nobody's offering him the engagement on. 20 seconds to try to cross the divide with 4 Japanese guns aimed right at you. There's the first. Anaton can't get the second. But with only 2 seconds to get to the kit, what a round!
And what a read. And this is what's really nice about this team, and I understand now why Victor, the translator that works with them, I think he's their player manager actually, but translates for them as well. Even he's saying, you know, I've seen the growth of these guys event after event, the way they talk about the game, the way that they approach the game, all this stuff has really evolved. And that round there, I think, is a wonderful example. They realise there's a few players off on the roam downstairs. They realise that there are castles put up in places that weren't there before. Yep. Oh, these players are isolated. Let's get on the blitz, let's rush our way through and do some real damage. Some real clarification of the situation.
So there was a player that was onto the left. I'm assuming Anaton.
Yeah. A little bit crazy.
There, no, that was it. Anaton was watching the cover of the rotate.
Yeah. And then what? There's 2 players actually on side. Brede and 1 more that they killed too. And again, just little things like that, like having someone on the flank watch rather than let's all flood into sight and see what happens. It's just got really good composed elements to it. And I think to everyone's surprise, Cyclops are up 3-2 on the attacking half of Sky. A map that BDS, you look at their stats, they love playing it, they ban it the least, they're 3-0 on it so far. Well, clearly, they have been cooking summer. A very, very tasty ramen broth by the looks of it too.
3-2 CAG, and BDS ain't gonna see if it becomes 4 on the same side. We go down to barbecue. We'll see if they can maybe try and slow down this second site woe that seems to be striking BDS. Now, they are obviously very clean on their attack. They were very good previously, earlier on in the day. And, you know, you've still got users putting in some fight. You've still got some showing of guns. But a 4-2 half on their defense, and CAG are looking alive. An early pick there.
That's the IQ gone as well when you've got to deal with a Solus and a Valkyrie. That's going to be a bit of a sting unless they've managed to get rid of any of those cameras, and that's really unlikely inside about 30 seconds. You've still got a lot of the crucial stuff that you need. You've still got your hard breach, you've still got your Brava to be hacking away any bulletproofs that are around the map. You've still got the Ying, most crucially the execute operator in this setup. So, right sort of idea, I think. And I love how they've actually broken BDS and just said, right, we're not playing on that site anymore. We're abandoning Exhibition Office. We'll go for the off-site. Forget about it.
Black Ray trying to get in, pressure on towards Shrine, but he's caught. Solotov gets the connection on the back end, able to hold the position. And 2 big sort of intel drivers, as you said, the IQ the first victim, the Brava the second. At this point, a lot of that gadgetry will be free. You're looking at FNAT mines, the position of those Valk cams, all of that now massively problematic and probably irremovable. Where are CAG going to try and formulate themselves? There's a lot that needs to be done for control of this site. You need the verticality, and you are 2 bodies short. So even if you win this fight, if they leave, well, they're not leaving. Does the trade, but
okay.
I mean, now it is just Chibisu left. The 4 versus 1, and I think it's fair to probably call this an even half.
What a funny half it has been as well. Like, based on the site, you've either seen a ludicrously dominant Cyclops team or a ludicrously dominant BDS team. And it's only really been around that one site that we saw them walk away with 3 rounds on it. It's a real smash and grab operation. And fair play. That now gives them a real good basis to go into the second half.
Do you think BDS are like, we really should have come to this site sooner? We really should have just
maybe second time of
off.
asking, we should have taken away from that one, absolutely.
Well.
You know what I do love those? Like, I popped over to the stream a second ago to see what everyone was talking about, and someone said, you know, CAG might not be the strongest team, but they are hella entertaining to watch. They've got a new fan. And that's kind of been the story of them over the years, is they are a really entertaining team. They don't take themselves too seriously. You'll always see them laughing and joking as well. They are a lot of fun to support, but even just casting Japan League in the previous stage, like the most recent one, it's becoming really competitive over there at the minute. There's some really strong teams that are really coming to the fore with some great personalities on as well. So shout out to Japan League. If you're enjoying what you're seeing here and you want to see some more chaos, well, Japan League is often the place to be.
Get your regionals in. They're just blinded and just like, I'm off. See you later. The attempt on the utility push. That's at least some of that. We saw him having a fight with someone else. There was at least 3 guns that were aimed on him in that final engagement. 3 apiece. Now, if CAG can push this over the line, we go down to a best of 1 in Oregon. Hey, you know any fun stories about BDS?
I know a really funny story about BDS in Oregon, Emmy. I'm so glad you asked.
What is it?
Oh, they got slapped yesterday by PSG Talon.
Whoops.
Yeah, that happened.
It's exciting as a possibility, and we're not there yet.
Imagine the mentality of going back into that map, though, if they do go there. It will be mortifying.
On the back foot of losing a map that you're very good at. You know, this was a risky pick by Cyclops. It's their map, sure, but it's still a risky pick because when you pick into a map that you know your opponents are good at, you're making the statement, we are better at them. Yeah. The very popular tactic that was done for a long time by Furia, XW7M, they would always sort of go, this is their best map and we want to beat them on it.
Unintentionally, Solly almost caught out Shiranaka there as rotating back in through Terrace. More going out into the roam a little bit late, I guess. He just kind of opted, hey, maybe I should be out roaming. Oh, God, I'm nearly dead.
Well, the drone can be picked up and rotated back round. They obviously, as I said, try and go for the clear on the back end. Remember where the site is and where we've sort of seen CAG. Not really in the site itself. They've got a bit of presence underneath. They're a bit around, you know, the house stairs, the back end where you've only got the bit of solid. The VIP wall is still, as you can see, electrified. But this is it. They're a little bit hands-off right now and still extended on the far side. Are they going to go and try and hunt the 2 loose players of CAG?
They are spread out across the entire map, as you can see the observers give you now. It's like a star set up across the entire map. 2 on the bottom, 3 up towards the top side. Now Leaky Fat rotating over. This is a part of the map we didn't see too much control from Cyclops on their attacks at this site, to be fair. They didn't need it, clearly, because they won every single one. But a shrine push of some kind late into the round is normally a go-to because you get the backstab effect coming out of that. So I think at the minute BDS haven't put too much pressure on, which means you have these roamers on the side of Cyclops happy to wander around the map a little bit too, playing out around laundry and pantry right now, for example, as you can see. Chibisu does hit the deck, though. Shaiko's got himself inside a shrine. And this is what I mentioned, normally such a key spot to push inside of. They have now dealt with that angle, though.
Yeah, it was sort of the they read the writing on the walls there. Chibisu was impossible to rotate out of that situation. He was stayed a little bit longer than his welcoming, but there was just a rotate just before the push came to it. A minute left. BDS, well, they're aware the Claymore's gone, and rightfully so, the Solace doesn't instantly move on it, but now it's an option. Now it's a pressure point they can relay. Bride has another Claymore, but with how much time is left, and the man needing to try and get in and plant, they can't really afford to fully rotate.
Blackray's got a little bit of work to do here as well, I think, to really come up and join the rest of his team. I know he's holding on the below, hoping the butt comes pushing into him, but you've now got 2 players working their way in through Terrace. You've got Bride, Leaky back out on main breach too. There's a lot of things stacking up for BDS.
But it's a Solace, and they might try and get the plant on. That's the hope.
True, that's a good point.
How aware they are of Blackray and how little time they had left. Remember, that was the round that they almost won. The pressure starts to come through. We can see the sort of firebolts moving on. Solotov finds Cyrenaica, and the pressure's on Shirin's position, but he's able to do almost everything. But he can't quite get it. The a sliver and a slip away. Bride's hopped up the plant. The Solace is powerless. And we'll just have to watch at this point. The shotgun can't react, does a lot of damage, and there's the end of one. Ifaka splinter from being caught out there.
It's unbelievable.
But Blackgrade charging up into a gunfight he knows is about to happen. Almost got a closer connection than he thought he would have. But they're outside on the rappel. They've got the power position with the wall open. Again, another round. They almost win as it was in Cafe.
Oh, it's insane, isn't it?
If but for a pocket full of seconds.
That's what it comes down to sometimes. Just can you hit the shots? And unfortunately, just couldn't find his man. But that's kind of the difference, I think, is when you see BDS stepping into these fights, they miss one shot, but the second is pretty much always guaranteed to be on the head. They're picking up these kills when the opportunities present themselves, right? Yeah. And I do really like the difference in approach that we saw from both teams to that site in particular, right? Cyclops very clustered around the south side, as we know. BDS started, like I mentioned, like a star formation around the entire map, really getting a feel. And a somewhat uncharacteristic mistake coming out of Shaiko, admittedly. Yeah, breaking is that honestly is heartbreaking. But he makes a really small mistake with bolting his way in towards Shrine, a bit too ahead of the rest of the team into Dragon, and just gets himself like bitten off, and that's it. No one's there to guarantee a trade. So he's gone a bit early, tried to find a gap and been punished for it.
Now it's always whataboutism. If they had gotten that kill on that single wall and not had to force themselves out of position to swing around the samurai armor, then they might not have been caught by the second follow. They might have been able to contest the pressure a little bit longer. They might have been able to maybe rotate the Solace into a slightly different position. I think the fact that BDS knew there was a Solace underneath. I mean, let's be real. Bride, if you look up the word professional planter in the dictionary, he is there. He knows that game so well. And he's like, Solace, this is where I go. And for him, that is a split second of thought that others might fumble on. Solace can do bits underneath, but not the right bits.
No. But that's what it comes down to, a game of fine margins. You look back at it on the previous map as well with Shuri's flank when he missed that shot onto Users and Users spins round and domes him. That was to be a very different round back in round one. Not that I don't think it would have changed the outcome of Cafe, but again, just very fine margins at points throughout it. And for me, again, good to see Cyclops playing at that elevated level, even if BDS might just be a small step too far. Still plenty of rounds to go, though. You're going to see another slow start, I imagine, coming out of BDS. They're not this kind of team that want to rush in and move fast. They want to make sure every movement is intentional, that it's safe to do. They aren't walking in and being sprayed by someone sat in a rat corner.
Remember, as I said, you sort of try and clear your way across. Well, that's still what they're doing. Yeah. They're being slow and cautious. Even though there isn't the direct presence, they're playing themselves a little bit at arm's length, just hoping the fight leans into Shurip's favor, but he's the only one that comes off a little bit worse for wear.
I think they're mindful that, one, they haven't taken down too many drones, and two, they haven't found themselves a gunfight to get rid of a player here. So it's not really been a very effective roam. Like, I keep on talking about that front line across the map here. You can see it drawn straight down the middle. BDS hold those two crucial rooms. They've got the east side of the map. They've made sure it's all been locked down. They've got the Nomad on side to help with that. Flank drones on the setup as well. So now they can start thinking about the side, still with about half the round to play or so. And therein comes the swing. It's a trade elsewhere around the map. Same spot. Shuri, the one who gets the kill, immediately shut down. Good bit of team play. And then Shureneko gets the dome onto Solotov as well.
Solotov's having a great map, but he still has this little moments where he'll get into position, not quite expect what's going to happen next. Here, Shaiko, he's in a very aggressive position, has the flashes if he wants to lead himself around the corner, but he is, you know, still waiting on Users to retake the back end. Now they have it.
What's Shureneko doing? He's underneath as well, coming up house stairs. He might get behind them here.
He's hoping so. There'll probably be an air jab at some point, wherever Shaiko has left it, but he's not been the sharpest with those. They're trying to trick against the wall of gold. It hasn't entirely worked, so they have to pull themselves back. The flashes come through, and the execute is a go. They're moving in. Bride's in a plant position, but he's trying to catch the fight itself. They're just clearing the space, but underneath the back end, where's the motion? Jibisu gets Bride. The kit's cold. The shotgun's locked and loaded. There's at least a trade out. Shaiko in a 1 versus 2, the third 1 versus 2 we've seen BDS in across this map so far, but this time it's, I mean, for whoever's booked greatest player in the world to demonstrate how it's done, the plant will be confirmed.
Oh man, you just know that this could build into a Shaiko 1v2. They know where he is. They need to get these two gunfights at the same time. And he spun on the dime a little bit there, not quite sure where the aggression was going to come from. And Shureneko spent half that round downstairs, managed to get himself up black, and managed to get the kill. Now they've got to wait. Ooh, tasty diffuser.
Takes you a while, Goyo.
Like some barbecue.
That's the lesson that you learn learn here.
Imagine if we were down to a few seconds less and they had to sit and watch the round lose from there. It'd be unbelievable.
That would be traumatic.
Oh, crazy. I was looking at Black Ray too. That round ended with 2 smoke canisters in back pocket. Like, if you know that there's this 3-man push coming on through, you smoke gold. Like, you know they're breaching. You know they want to push in from there. Just drop the smokes out, stall the round, give time for Sure and Epic to make a move forward. So I was a bit surprised that was sat in back pocket for so long. Yes, they get the round win. Maybe made it a little bit harder for themselves than it needed to be. The most important thing, though, Emi, is it's 4-4. Cyclops are staying competitive.
I mean, this is that sort of moment, right? There's only been 2 instances of more than one round being tied together at the same time. It's been so continual that there doesn't need to be a break in play. No. Cyclops are keeping this pace. They're developing the game as it goes. And BDS have that extra map. This is do or die for Cyclops at this point. And that is that worrying factor that on other teams could sort of put them in this pressure position. But as I said, Cyclops, I'm not going to say they've thrived in it. No one wants to. But we've had SI winners win off the back of an entire lower bracket run before. We've had teams prefer the pressure of coming in on phase 1 and having to fight themselves into phase 2.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about like coming in hot, right?
Yeah.
Like teams that qualified yesterday, now you've got a good few days off. Like, sure, you can scrim, but it's not quite an official rest.
No.
Teams that play up to tomorrow, you have a 1-day rest. You can still come in cold. You see teams even at the start of days that they played the previous day come in cold sometimes and take a bit of time to figure out their opponent, get the gears really turning. But again, lower bracket runs, we've seen a lot of success from those historically.
This site, thoughts?
Less worried about the site, more worried about the lineup. It's cursed. I'm telling you, Glass is a cursed operator this competition. Just
Right.
cursed.
Okay.
So users have got to watch out. I mean, he's the man you want to give it to, if anything, but we'll see. This actually has been played 5 times so far, I believe, at this major as well, and we've seen, I think, actually the highest plant rate on this site compared to others.
It had a very successful run. I cast it last night.
Yeah.
And it was frustratingly successful.
Yeah.
And it became the deciding point as well. It was that risk of a roll. But again, you know, what's offered, what's given to you on this site, and what can be taken away by a lot less work. You compared to the sort of heavy clears you've got to do for the other 3 sites, where you've got to get about 75–80% of the map, not just for like checked but cleared. Here is a much smaller window. Now, I'm not going to say it's successful, I'm not going to say it's correct, and obviously every team has their own approach, but the fact that obviously the walkway towards delivery is softened, the fact that they can sort of just drive this glass up towards the single door, it gives them a much more direct line. Oh no, they're going
Glass is cursed, I told
Glass
you!
is cursed, but is Bride blessed? There's a drop from above. Bride will get the plant, get a little bit of a scrape. 2 versus 5. The clash is the worry, exactly. I was about to sort of say, if they can rotate her down, which they do, they can just set Glaz up on that window, cover the approach, get someone behind it, and tuck. But Solotov's position here is very important. He can time this with the clash, force the shield to break, do some damage. He is all that is left, looking for the fight on the back, hit by the air jab. He's gone for the turtle. He's playing the cover. Please, someone defuse. 14 seconds, and they are going to get it.
Crazy. If he'd hit the turn and burn, then Anderson, he would have immortalized himself as a god. Not quite Monty can do it on, but it can also make it happen on a clash, apparently. But a good hold.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great bit of motion. The Glaz, okay, yeah, cursed. I can see that. Holding that aggressive position, shallower than the smoke that was thrown, that went past him and saying, I am fine here. And then seeing a rifle that is 50 meters long slowly crouch its way through and like waiting for a train.
Cursed operator. I don't know why every time I seem to cast a game where it's played, it just never goes according to plan. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to do one of the most tried and tested checks of anything in Siege history, which is the, are we going to map 3? Let me shake my Will Fresh give me a thumbs up crystal ball. Oh, he does not believe so. He thinks BDS are going to pull this one back.
I could see it going overtime and BDS taking it from there. Cyclops will get another round in this game. Hands down.
I want a 3rd map.
I would like one.
I would love
just for the story, more than anything else.
The story.
And, like, what do you do if you're BDS in that case? Like, you've lost to PSG, how long you lose to CAG? Let's assume, of course, CAG win the series. But you've assembled a super team. You take 2 of the best players, if not the best players, from M&M, bring them into your team, become an English-speaking team, retain your 3 stronger players, and dare I say, you know, results have to. No, you. Shaiko's going to fit. Look, he loves it. Look at the player cam. He's like, let's go, let's go.
Shaiko has
Big
killed.
dog.
Big dog. Shaiko has killed many people.
To be fair, I've seen Shaiko get probably about 4 kills by spraying softball this competition so far. That's a little bit of karma coming back the other way.
Well, there's karma in the form of Solotov. Again, they're having a very good kill game at this point. They're something that we haven't really seen from them since they joined BDS as a whole. They've struggled to sort of find their position in this roster, find their sort of place in this lineup. And yeah, they were very successful up to this point. At that point, you're sort of fine to trail behind 4 of the statistical best players in the league and in the world. I'll leave that for everyone else to fight. But if I talk about users having a big moment earlier, this would be the time for one of those sort of star players to set their pace in.
It's the real terror of Deimos isn't always just down to the gadget or the... Well, I guess it's kind of on the gun side here. It's that vertical destruction that it gives as well. So good at the sort of soft breach, getting the angles opened up. Admittedly not going to open massive holes that you can suddenly charge through, but that's not why you bring the Deimos along here. It's more about those cheeky angles that he can line up, the information that he can provide. The only fear that he needs to have in this round is the mute. If someone stood on the mute when that track comes through, it's going to fail. So Liquifat really wants to be finding out the roamers here. Now Solotov's been taken offline as well. No response from BDS. Cyclops have got the man advantage.
EFAX finding a fight on the stair set, but with, as he said, the man disadvantage, they don't want to throw themselves into a 1 versus 1 upper stair and hope that they can win it out. Those pings work 2 ways. They're well aware of each other's position. The frag grenade's going to sort of say it.
He fancies it.
They're kind of hoping for the fight.
He's got a
grenades roll downstairs. Zironeko gets used this and they lose it out anyway. Anaton. I mean, if you want Anaton out for a scrap, very sort of Manchester Major of you, but he's more than happy to run around the back of the venue and go for it.
I think this is going to be like an unofficial tack timeout, as we often call it here, where the boys are just going to use this time on BDS to have a chat. They know they're potentially about to lose this map. Overtime at the very least is guaranteed for Cyclops. They're going up 6-4. Like I say, a 2-0 is never guaranteed. It doesn't matter what teams it is. It's absolutely ludicrous. Oh,
what a comeback here from Cyclops. All of those questions are being sort of answered throughout this map, though. We you know, you have curiosity. You have the, all right, you want to step here, let's see how. Again, unofficial timeout. Probably going to be a proper timeout called after this potentially as well, but it's always tough because it's not that they're a million miles away. This is the furthest the round's been a bit of a difference. This is the furthest there's been of a distance. Do you really want to entirely break the momentum and give their coach a chance to talk to them?
Well, for all we said about this map being the 3-0 for BDS, it's their go-to map. They ban it the least. They always want to play here when given the opportunity, but teams often ban it away against them. I was looking at the stats of Cyclops before the game too. Yeah, they lost it to Bleed a few days ago, but they are 3-2 on the record overall this year. Take that Bleed game out, it's 3-1 realistically. They're still good on this map, right? And many might turn around and say, yeah, well, top EU team compared to a Japanese team scrapping out in a league that's just had roster mania in the stage just gone. Sure, but they're playing on it absolutely fantastically. BDS turning the unofficial timeout into a full-on tactical timeout now, so it gives them a good couple of minutes to have this chat, get the coach involved. He's probably heard them talking about what they wanted to go through in that round and has said, right, here's what you're missing, here's what else you got to think about now. What can we do? And Cyclops on cloud 9 right now, I imagine.
We could be hurtling back towards Oregon.
I tell you, Liquifat, I've never seen it too much, but quite an emotional player in the sense you often see his emotions on his face.
Oh, he lives for the game.
And him and Shaiko look fed up right now. The pair of them do.
Yeah. It's hard because we are not, unfortunately, privy to the entirety of a team's working dynamics, the calls, the comms, how things work. It was one of the few things, unfortunately, as casters, we aren't gifted. But we have to sort of build memories on what would happen when this team was in this position last time. You used to have a Lems be a very, very vocal part of trying to cheer the team up, trying to get them rallied back behind it. And that's a lot of pressure that falls now towards EFAC, who did start to take over that role as things went on. But it also falls on towards Shaiko, who has not always been the most sort of vocally, you know, present player. Brede as well isn't always the most vocally sort of present, energetic player. We all remember those clips of Renshiro, where he smashed through a table.
Hulk smash!
And that's an element now where there's a responsibility from those 3 remaining French players to sort of try and get that energy. It's not something that is, you know, written in the rulebook you've got to bring, but it helps.
Yeah, it's one thing I think about actually now that I've not really thought about it this way, but this is a very quiet team.
Yeah.
Like, BDS quiet, Shaiko's quiet, Nickelback is quite noisy, he's the IGL, I guess. Yuzu's is silent, and some I've never seen him be a massive talker, to be fair.
There is a lot of pressure on him.
So when the mood's down, who's going to lift it up? Yeah, whereas on Cyclops, all 5 of these players,
five of them.
They're just like, guys, you're being fools. Look, let's have some fun. And, you know, the vibe is always high.
Yeah, it's tough because there is so much pressure that comes into this engagement, and it's something that Troy said, obviously a very vocal player in a documentary that did about him, as EFAC does find the open on Sireneko, is sometimes he's just doing it for his team, the shouting, the energy to calm them down.
Well, he stopped it for about a year and asked him, you know, why don't you shout anymore? And he was like, I realized that I bring the team too high sometimes and then too low, and it's like a roller coaster. Like, I'd rather we be at the middle level like all the time. What actually happened was they'd either be middling or low. There was never any high point, and that's why I think he's now back to his more energetic, screaming self that we all know and love. For now, at least the breach being delayed here onto Geisha. But yeah, I think for BDS, that energy is going to be a really important factor here. Yeah, again, I think Cyclops now probably take this map. They're at 6-4. They've got a couple of rounds where they can get this over the line. Yes, BDS has started well here, but there's still another side to go through, let's not forget.
There is, and, well, they've technically won 3 as well. Geisha Bedroom and Office. Geisha is where they're going to try and rotate back round. They got the early take. We're getting some flashes and pressure in towards Geisha, and they're already in, and Anaton gets Solotov, knocks him right back out. The Grim is gone, and there's nobody instantly on the pick back up. Anaton with the Tubarao, he's been able to buy himself a second, but he's in a very isolated position. He cannot truly, really rotate out of this whilst feeling confident. The C4 goes flying, and half a Brede. The single soft wall and the pressure that's about to hit on towards the swing of drum. There is almost the catch onto it, and the double dip. A 3 apiece. Now, they have some of the drum control, but none of it is confident because Brede is now watching back into it.
That's a classic example there of why you want to have these pincer attacks coming in, right? Because Shuri really should have had his man covered there, but both he and the man who was playing inside a box were watching on towards the window where Brede was coming from. And that's how they got the backstab. Now, Shuri hitting the deck as well. Not bad from BDS, 3 versus 2. But 2 smokes. Black Grey, use them, please.
2 smokes, 50 seconds. How much time can be drawn out here? Black Grey can throw them down towards the plant on the back end of B. He's hoping his other teammate can watch onto A. They go for the swing as they go for the deploy utility. Users is trying to get the pinch on the player back towards the back end of goal, but it's Brede that finds the end of them. Black Grey's trying to get himself a pocket of space. He has one more canister, and the plant is being confirmed. Cannot win out the fight, Top Black. And BDS.
There, good. Real good pressure for him onto Top Black there. Sorry, Amy.
No, it's fine. They get the landing.
They do. A comfortable round, I think, overall. Yes, they lost a couple of players along the way, but very composed and controlled. And Cyclops with a few of those mistakes, like I mentioned, just everyone sort of tunnel visioning onto one player coming in towards Geisha, which enabled that drum swing to come through and get themselves a freebie. Shuri's then got a swing and kind of course correct. Thank God he does get the trade. For him to then die a few seconds later, it just kind of started like a cascade, an avalanche, a waterfall of mistakes that BDS really took advantage of. And this is the thing at this level of play, it's more about capitalizing on the mistakes of the opposition rather than looking to kind of make big plays yourself. And that's what I think a lot of teams often make mistakes on. You know, I look back at SSG, always trying to force the issue, when sometimes it's about waiting for the other side to make the issue first.
Instantly. Hit a tack timeout with a tack timeout. Don't let them build momentum. But again, it's a bit of a risk because obviously the timeout has just worked. There's nothing that stops BDS having the conversation with the coach just as much as CAG are.
I mean, they've already got, they're going to be saying, well, what we spoke about before in the previous round, our attack timeout is working, just carry on, boys. Like, there's not too much to add. It's why I think the coach is pretty quiet there. I think throughout this competition, every time I've seen attack timeout, I think bar one game now, I think about it, I've seen the team go on to win that next round. So I'm starting to think here for Cyclops, all they've got to do is cook up one little bit of specialty, something special in this final round of regulation, and then get this round done. I still stand by if this goes to overtime, I think BDS walk away the winner.
They're going to try Geisha again. Maybe the conversation was pointed for just that fact of sometimes instead of it being more of a sort of, you know, high concept, bigger picture conversation about what is working, what is going wrong, it's this is what happened on that site, this is what you change, and this is where you might be able to push it over the line. There were trades, there were instances of popping back into it, but they just could not slow it down enough, and they also, remember, lost the body really early.
It's
in the plant.
Man, come on.
It's in the plant.
We surely don't miss that. Surely not. But I was going to say, yeah, for those maybe who are joining us, or in case you weren't watching the B stream, Beast Coast have 2-0'd ITB over there.
Oh,
The
no.
run for ITB, it's their first major appearance as well. Only Kendra have been to a big event like this before. So, you know, lots of British players in there. Personally, just give a shout and say, well done, boys. Like, very proud you've made it this far. That's a massive run for your first event. Lots of teams come to repeated events and don't even get past the first. So,
That's it.
Heads held high. You've lost to a good team as well coming out of NA. Beast Coast making a deeper run here too. We're really at the sharp end of things now, where, again, only 8 teams make it through to our quarterfinals on Friday. So to lose at this stage, you're still realistically near enough a top 10 team.
I mean, they were outside of Cruelty, the only roster that was pretty much predominantly new players. Oh, E1, I think, 3 of them hadn't been to a major before as well, but 4 fresh players to a major, putting in the pressure that they did.
Yeah.
Fantastic run.
And if you are joining in here, welcome to the Chaos.
Well, Chaos, CAG, they got themselves match point a round ago. BDS have pulled back 1. We've had 2 timeouts over 2 rounds, and it's just 1 separating them from send us into a best of 1. BDS took their map, the opener. Cyclops took a risk coming to Skyscraper, a good map for them, but also a pretty decent map for their opponents. There's a Deimos, great play, it's all soft, and it means you cannot trick it out. You've just got to try and hot-foot it. They tried to waste time and tried to waste Solitov
good bait
as well. Great bit of motion. They said he's underneath us, can we put the pressure in? But Chibisu is the first to suffer. There is Anaton hitting the deck as well. All the pressure is onto the site, and they're spending a bit of the focus here on the hunt for the Deimos Shurip.
If he tucks in this corner here and the drone doesn't see him as it's about to rifle on through, surely it knows. No. If he isn't seen here, this is absolutely huge. No death mark track coming through either. Will he be able to find his man tucked in behind the minibar, though? Surely he knows that he's there, but he really has slipped the net here. Knows that he's on drone as well, finds his man as well, just in case you had to see the electrics. You saw him in front of your face. Shiraneko in a good spot as well, finds the second too. This could be a bit of a swing back here.
The kick goes cold. They lose it outside the balcony, and now they've been able to get themselves a little pocket of control, but a 3 versus 2 with a lot of time and a lot of big guns is that problem. Users still has pockets full of utility, so the pressure comes its way across the side of top black, where they have it.
Yes, they're 2 on top black. They've got 1 playing on karaoke window, as you can see here. Thank you very much, observers. You get the idea as how this is playing, but they've got to fight through these players on Cyclops to be able to get to the diffuser. 1 small slither, 1 slip of the net, 1 missed drone. These are the small margins that we play to at this level of play. It's a spectacle to behold every single time. Now, sure enough, the backstab. Surely not getting in on this one. He's found 1 for himself. Is this the moment that Cyclops take us into map 3? Finds 1 more. Pistol at the ready. Can't quite find his man. Shika will bring him down, but Shuri Pia, 10 seconds to hold, and of course he's coming his way up back black as well.
They're going to go for the plant. They're watching on the back of the stairs. He's got himself tucked, but it's the Solace. He's swinging around. There's the fight on the corridor. It's a 1 versus 1, and he cannot make it. Shaiko holds on. And it came down to a Solace in a 1 versus 1, and all you're thinking is, where could they have gone? Pretty much anywhere. They didn't need to take the fight as they did. Instead of sitting underneath, waiting and baiting for the play, they pull themselves up here to OT.
Wow. What a round. You love it when games go this close. The last one was a little bit of a snoozer, a bit of a rollover for Cyclops, but they've been really competitive here, but BDS have clawed it back. I speak about the magic of these tack timeouts. That one wasn't really in the favor of Cyclops, but it was so close. They win that 1v1. The plant is stuck with the plant going down, and that's an easy closeout for Shurip. Again, fine margins, a missed drone, a lost 1v1. They were what swung the tide in that round. Now we go overtime. Cyclops on the defense. We had 2-3-3 halves. I don't think it matters where you start, but my biggest fear for Cyclops, they only found success on the attacking side of things when they were going in towards Exhibition, let's not forget.
Yep. There was 1 site they did over and over again, and they did it pretty well. BDS just have to hold the 1 site that, well, they also did pretty well.
I mean, they got 2 flawless rounds, BDS, it's worth noting as well on Karaoke and T. So guess where they're going when they go on the defense next round?
Exhibition.
Write that round off. It's probably going to be a loss. So Cyclops have got to get 2 defensive wins here. They lose this, and I think the game's done.
Shurip wants to take a big risk here and hope, as they're setting up utility, he can be a nightmare. Now they could drone him out, but Asolis is the perfect one to tell you when that's pressuring, and Shaiko is the perfect one to try and push back against it. He's being very thorough with his checking, and there's the reveal of the IQ, and he doesn't trust that he hasn't been watched, monitored, and pushed around. The pressure onto the VIP wall, or up the top of the house stairs, and, well, that is open. This was solid, quite late into the round last time. It gave Cyclops a position to play, and that's something that BDS have read into.
I think Anderton was hoping someone would be on the rappel there as that breach opened up, hoping to get a cheeky kill. He wanted to get it in reverse. In fact, Eustace has been found. That's out the house door downstairs, I believe. Really cheeky, because Eustace dropped off the rappel, ran back through spawn, and has basically been spawn peeked a minute into the round. Like, what?
A little bit eager there, Shuri. The breach was coming around. You know the position. Obviously, they're not trying to trick it from the back end. They've got themselves some clarity. They're just going to roll on through here. Try and stop anything that might be played underneath, placed close by. Shaiko's not going to entirely throw himself in. Efak goes wide. Solotov with the blinds on the back end. Does he know about the player on the top of the shrine swing, ready and waiting? Cyrenaico, does he know seemingly of this place? They're on contact. Solotov has moved in under the cover of his gadgetry, of his audio. There's the swing.
Beautiful.
There's the catch. Cyrenaico had the awareness, and now the 3 remaining BDS players, they've done a lot of damage to the site, but it's awkward to move and manipulate your way in when they still have all the power positions. Anderton's holding Efak on the back end of VIP. They've just slipped inside the site. Bride behind the chassis, so they're going to see if they can get the cover from the width, and Bride might be able to stick a plant, but remember where the Solace is. That is something that Bride has to pay keen attention to underneath. They're hoping and baiting, and Bride, as I said, he'll get himself hopped up on the desk. There needs to be action here, and action starts to pop its way around. Shibisu, there's enough to draw focus, 50 seconds. They have time to do this, but not a lot. Efak hits the ground as well, and Cyclops once again put themselves on map point.
I keep on referring back to the many years ago of the Cyclops that we once knew, the aggressive, the impatient, but that round was a masterclass display of how to be patient time and time again. Cyrenaico holding up on Shrine, waiting to hear the sound cue that would have spelt the demise of Blackray. He was sat on the other side of Dragon Statue, and that's what Solotov wanted, not knowing Cyrenaico was nearby, so a bit of a misthrown. Again, fine margins. Anderton was tucked up on the north side as well, waiting, knowing that Leakefat was outside the breach, but didn't move a muscle, and only then sprung into action as the round came to an end, and the Solus, we all know, has been doing some work down there. Again, beautiful play from Cyclops. BDS just looked lost and really uncertain on what to do.
I mean, there it was. The fact that they still had the minibar position.
He was there from round start. He hadn't moved.
And it's a powerful position to play. We cast FaZe on it the other day, and I think 80% of Cyber's kills, which was about 12 or 13 kills, came from just playing minibar. I started calling it Cyber.
Nice.
Because fair enough.
Yeah, fair.
And
Understood.
Cyclops.
Right.
So you said 2 flawlesses.
Yes.
5 seconds to go.
3 flawlesses? I mean, what can they learn here? What really has gone wrong for them on this approach that they can try and fix?
It kind of tells you enough that they've got to find at least a kill, and that would be an improvement over previous rounds.
All right.
That's the way the hard look at it.
The bar is low.
I look back at how the play came through, and if you recall, they had that really scrappy, weird half executing towards the right-hand side of the map, right? Out towards the east, inside of display. They had the Grim coming out, they had the Amaru coming up through hatch, and it all just kind of petered out from there. They got absolutely meat grinded inside of Terrace, and it all fell apart. And we were like, well, that's a round worth forgetting. Cyclops was still laughing, admittedly, afterwards.
Yeah.
But they've really got to change their approach here, and I'm not too sure that entering in from that east side of the map is strictly the way to do it. Maybe a heavier Geisha focus will be better.
My worry is if this goes to a 7-7, Cyclops probably won't go Geisha. They'll go to Bedroom. They're 1-1 for Bedroom. Geisha,
and they played it well
twice in a row. They played it well, but they also played into what was put forward. The Glaz trying to sneak in, the coverage. BDX can adapt on towards that, and they're probably well aware of it. So, as much as it pains to say, this is, I mean, potentially the chance, because you're playing against the expectations. You're playing against what BDS have done twice in a row. The pressure starts on Efak. Shuri steps in, but doesn't step any further. Waits for some support, and it popped up. The impact gets the
Pokeball.
and a bit of revenge from before.
Shuri sounds like a Pokemon name. Shuri, I choose you.
Shuri.
That's the sound effect. There you go. Nintendo, you're welcome.
They say their name?
Yes.
Oh.
How do you not know this?
I don't play.
Think about Pikachu.
I don't play Pokemon.
You grew up with Pokemon.
I thought Pikachu. No, Meowth talked.
He did, the only one.
Yeah, he was allowed.
Others did telepathically. That was kind of cheating, though.
Messed up.
A little bit. It's like, whoa.
Do they eat the Pokemon?
No, unless you play Power World, in which case, yes.
Yum, yum, yum. 7-6.
Scary game.
Cyclops, and they've lost the opener. Uh-oh, it's happening again. The Ying is gone. The one piece of utility they've successfully really been able to use to force motion, even if they couldn't get any of the commotion on the back of it. Chibisu sneaks his way up along delivery with a lot of support. They've tried to buck themselves in. It's a slightly different take. Pressure up the stairs, but do look.
Clash of Breed though, I'm nervous about here. That's the main effect that I think is going to hurt them. You know, Shaiko was on the warden just in case, but with the Ying gone, all you got to worry about is a bunch of flashes. And I spoke about on Cafe, when BDS brought along 12 flashes, it's still good to have the warden. So they'll do something here, but the main response was for the Ying that they expected, and sure enough got brought along. It's not being put to any use in this round at least. And look at the drone count, almost completely out the Cyclops. This last 30 seconds, they're just going to have to figure things out as they go.
Well, heavy hits round. Solotov's out the window. An easy pickup there. Nothing to stop him.
Nice trade.
At least the trade. They've got 1 kill and 2 kills on this side, including the clash. Suddenly they've made some action, but very quickly a reaction. 12 seconds left. The kid is cold. Chibisu's trying to find his way through with the cover of Black Gray. They have some of the pings in the conversation, but there's a man to his left that's probably going to strike in a second. There's the swing. There's the pressure. There's the defense round. We are going to a final chance here for Cyclops to push us in to a map 3.
Again, the expected outcome given how well they played that site the previous 2 times. And Cyclops are coming into that round end with no information, having to check every single corner. The clock's beating down on you as well with 10 seconds left. That one was destined to fail, essentially. It would have been something magical. Now we get this last round, round 15. Cyclops on the defensive side. You said we might see bathroom, bedroom. That is what we're getting.
I said it the other day when I was casting with Lynx. I think it was, we had bedroom bathroom as a deciding round on this map. And 15 seconds this is that moment, because I still hate that site. I hate it. I just don't think it offers a lot. It is being successful, so maybe I am just not down with the time.
I was about to say, why do you hate it so much? Because it's almost like defending, I don't know, like reading and fireplace or mining and fireplace on...
I think I hate it because I'm stuck in my ways.
Yeah.
Because we don't see it as much as we did see mining and dining.
We don't.
I think I'm just sort of like, I don't like this. I don't like change.
You basically sound... I'm not going to go there. Everyone is just like, I don't know about this. I don't like change. Therefore I hate this. That's exactly it, because it's different.
Famously, I'm all about change.
Some things are staying the same, though. You've got that clash coming back on side once again. Now, that was, I wouldn't say the deciding factor, but a big part of it last time round. It was a very dominant round coming out. If you recall, it was Solotov outside the front door of Laundry, having to face up against 5 players, one of them being a clash. It was not a happy time. So it's all the onus on BDS here. They're the ones who've got to figure out a way around this puzzle that's been put before them by Cyclops.
Cyclops already drifting their way out the map a little bit, but this first engagement, how telling will it be? Think about a lot of the successful rounds that we've had come on the back here, and it's been exploration outside. Now, the kit was planted last time, and they played for the retake here.
Fun stat, it's the most planted site in the game right now, percentage-wise.
Wow. All right, I'm
small
wrong.
Sample size, 6 times, but of those 6 times,
no, I'm right. I don't know. I don't like it for defenders. That's what I don't like. That's them to prove me wrong. Because they did play a great defense, and they played it as a retake. And that's sort of the point here, is are BDS going to see if they can try and get the plant in and play against that retake with more players left, or are they going to more commit?
They are a plant-heavy team. They planted 3 times on their attacks, let's not forget as well.
They love it. On the far side, the buck starts. Liquefact, the man who has been the driving force vocally and sort of committally for the approaches there. Anaton, the clash is going to replace some of the damage done on towards the wall. Black Gray was thinking about the swing, but he'll be
thinking about it.
But the worry is this, the buck maybe
Black Gray, step away, my man.
Oh, just seen on the camera, that gives them a little bit, but that was a split second away from
Look
it.
at Anaton immediately, he's like, chase him down, kill him. He's actually pushed all the way up to drum. They're going after him. There's 2 of them chasing him down, realizing he's alone, and Black Gray's got Solotov, huge.
Black Gray gets Solotov, they pull back. Shaiko gets Black Gray though and traded out. The clash did not find the result that they wanted and has to restack and re-step themselves up. In the meantime, the buck
below
has gone for some of the pressure here. They still have below, but BDS is just trying to clear space. They realize that CAG seem to step back, and if they could keep themselves in an even sort of hand and go for the retake, they might be able to hold on. The 4 versus 4 post plant, rather than the 2 versus 4 post plant, statistically, is a little bit happier for you.
The vertical control was the problem last time, so at least they've addressed that problem, but I'm worried they don't leave enough players up here. There's only Yuzu still holding. I mean, what a guy to have up there. As we saw, he went absolutely nuclear last map and is, again, one of those top-rated players that we have from Europe. He's who you would trust to hold down this flank while the rest of you get focused on the execute, but Shurif is ratting.
Oh, and he's... Was he detected there? I don't know if he was. It was a very quick swing. I don't know if they know about Shurip's position. Now they do. Oh, and he's caught by the vertical. The punishment comes, and now the plant is attempted. There's a 3 versus 3. 20 seconds, and the clash is still on the board. They have to try and find the stick. Anaton, he's trying to get territory. Timasu gets used as Pre-Day. He's going to try and hold on to the stick, but the clash is round the corner. It's Pre-Day versus the world, and the clash is trying to make everything as loud and dramatic and CAG! They have fought back here onto map 2. We are going to a best of 1 to determine who goes home between Cyclops Osaka and BDS.
Imagine the mental that BDS are now going to be feeling. Oh God, it's that map. The map that we lost to PSG Talon on. We've just given away a map that we're 3-0 on so far this year. This is looking like one hell of a series is cooking right now. What a map and what a performance from Cyclops. Beautiful play.
I mean, what a step back in. It wasn't that BDS were invisible. It wasn't that they weren't sort of not in the game. They kept on fighting. They kept on fighting. Solotov, again, having one of the best games he's had since joining BDS. Shaiko, 16-10. Cyclops stepped it up.
Well, BDS are going to have a good talk outside, I'm sure, in our desk. I'm sure I've got tons to say about that thriller. Let's go to them now.
CAG have done it. They have equalized the score. We were saying Skyscraper, BDS. You really want to do this? I mean, you know what, Fresh? The answer is yes, they do.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like Derry said, 3-0 this year, BDS on this map. They love it. Their #1 map preference. And we're seeing CAG pick into it, and we're thinking, what the heck is going on here? Now, it did go to overtime. It did come down to the very last round of overtime, but I do just want to give a shout out because CAG's attacks were exceptional, particularly on that office side in the first half of the map. And then, yeah, in overtime, it's just about who can hold their nerve the most. And it was CAG, and particularly Anaton on that clash in that very, very last round that's got them over the line.
But even on paper, it should never have went to overtime. Like you said, like we were all expecting BDS to take this easily. And like you said, I think, especially in attack, when I saw that 3-3 split, I think it's the biggest difference maker here, because I was saying initially, you know, to attack on Sky, whether you go direct onto the side or whether you go roam clear, you need a lot of coordination to get rid of these strong positions. And they were always consistently able to do it. And most importantly, they were doing it without the Monty. With the Monty ban, replacing it with Ying.
It's crazy the inconsistency though. Obviously, BDS very, very good map 1. Very, I would say that was a very bad performance from BDS. Yeah. And then obviously the opposite from CAG. Although I will say CAG had put in a really, really, really good shift, and it was only 8-7. That shows the individual quality that BDS have on the board.
Yeah, but also when we're looking at CAG, particularly individual players have showed up a lot. And coming into Skyscraper, we said they're not just going to need individual performances. They're not just going to need gunplay. They're going to need strategy. And it felt like when we were looking at CAG and the way that they were able to detect the holes that BDS has left in their strategy, they perfected it. They saw something in there, and that's why they clearly picked this map.
Yeah, actually, I have a couple of rounds in mind where, especially if we show the clips here, you see here Bride setting up the bomb site. We're on 5, and nobody's expecting a rush from CAG. This is just one other example of how they can find holes. They see there's an opportunity because the setup from BDS is super spread. So the blitz is rushing it at the same time from exhibition window. You get a trade instantly on him. Everybody is playing into that fast execution. This is the kind of execution that you're expecting from CAG because they're super used to doing these rushes. Now it's already in a 4v2. They have the control of the bomb site. That's it. You lost your round. And you cannot afford to lose this kind of round in defense. It's too important to put your round in defense in Sky. That's another one. That's another small mistake. This missed drone here from the side of BDS. Shurip doesn't shoot it because he knows, and that's really good trigger discipline. He knows he will open up a lot by getting this pick. And it's not only him. At the same time he gets this pick, the other players are getting aggressive. Look at Goyo here on Geisha, getting aggressive on this solo player. BDS consistently were spreading too much. They were giving these opportunities from CAG to just go and play aggressive and isolate those picks. One thing I said, if you want to win against CAG, you must group up, have one single direction, and get ready to get traded. Because the only win condition for CAG is actually to get aggressive and get those picks on isolated players.
We're looking at this game particularly, I think what we really also need to keep in mind is how close it was. It was an 8-7. Like, I was literally standing over there in the player area. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to do the interview. They're like, wait, no, CAG won, you need to run back. So I'm like running back all the way to the desk, and it's like, this was, like, CAG has genuinely pushed BDS to their limits.
Yep.
And coming off of the losses that BDS already has, I am worried for that mental state coming into that final map, Oregon.
It puts a lot of pressure. I think the pressure is all on BDS right now. They've just taken another loss to another team where it was not expected.
Yeah.
You know, the PSG Talon one wasn't expected yesterday. It's not expected they would have lost that map, especially on their favorite map. So there's a lot of pressure coming into that final
Yeah,
map.
it's APAC on top this time around, but we still have one more map of this best of 3 to decide which one of these two teams is going to be going home. BDS up against CAG. They are now equalized. Oregon coming up next. Welcome back to the Blast R6 Manchester Major. BDS going up against CAG. The elimination match here on Stream A. So far, every single team has won each other's map pick, and that means that we only have one left. Oregon, the decider for who goes home tonight.
Pressure is all on BDS right now, like really clearly. I think before they were saying to themselves, okay, it's fine, we lost 2 BO1s. It will be fine when we get to BO3. We have a better map pool, we're the better team, we should win this. And yet they're here, they're in the designer map against an APAC team. I don't think they were expecting that. And clearly
it is the
here.
APAC Major, so you know.
Oh, you're with it again.
Yes.
You trust APAC teams to take it.
I do.
Is that your prediction, Ginny?
Well, my prediction is that if BDS goes home, Pressure's gonna cry on this.
I will cry. I will say, Oregon is a map. We're coming up onto Oregon. Oregon's a map that BDS obviously lost on yesterday against an APAC team. And also, we highlighted in the pre-show their desync, their desynergies, and we saw it again on Skyscraper. So I think the winning factor for me is CAG will put in that consistent performance, but which BDS is going to turn up? Because if it's map 1 BDS on Cafe that was clear in utility, making it look completely easy, winning the rounds on attack nice and easy, then BDS will win it. However, if we see Skyscraper BDS, maybe not.
Well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see which BDS does turn up to the server. But CAG, they are looking confident and comfortable. We're ready to head into the final map of the series. Oregon coming up with Emmy and Dez.
This one's going to be good. I don't think any of us expected to get to third map today, but now that we're here, let's see it go all to 15 again.
I mean, anything else and I would be disappointed, right? You had such a good fight back in on Skyscraper all the way, and it wasn't that BDS weren't there. It's just boy CAG were there.
Oh, yes, they were. They showed up ready to party. And now it's time for Oregon Party. Wow. We all saw the game. Not all of us. Most of us saw the game yesterday.
I didn't, because I was casting on the other stream.
Yeah, we were talking about it a second ago off air, and I said, realistically, it was the 1v2 from Misa that really cost BDS that game, I thought. It came down to overtime, and that is where we saw Talon manage to get things over the line. That 1v2 never should have been a thing. And for BDS, we've seen relatively good composure in those situations where it's a man advantage situation on the last couple of maps. So that is kind of patched over, I imagine. Ban-wise, I thought we were going to see Ying, Monty, Solus, and Azami based on what these two teams had banned last time they played it. But CAG had come straight out and said, you know what, yeah, we'll get the Grim off the board. The Monty, no surprise at all. Solus may well follow here, especially since we saw a lot of that being played by CAG on the last map.
I think it's just, you know, that eternal world where they play without the sort of Monty-less world. You have, as you said, the Grim Drive. Clash gone. They're not messing around.
Annington draws a double ban.
They're not messing around.
Fear or respect? Fear.
Yeah. Solus taken out.
Okay, interesting.
It didn't massively work for them, I think, as well as it did.
To be fair, when we saw BDS play this yesterday, they played it in 5 or 6 defensive rounds.
Yeah.
So I'm not too surprised by that. Wrong map, actually, ignore me.
Both shields gone. Attack and defense in terms of the utility. BDS start on their attack.
Sorry, PSG Talon banned Solus against BDS yesterday, so BDS didn't get to play it, but I think probably there's a look at that from Cyclops to say, right, they banned it for a reason, or we've seen the same thing that PSG Talon saw. Let's take it away. If Fabian said it's good enough to ban, then we should do the same. Cyclops starting the defense as well, which to me makes this really saucy. I thought we might see BDS on the defense to start, but no. Cyclops get that pleasure, which might give them that little bit of momentum because, again, I spoke earlier on about how quiet BDS are as a team. Head start drop in, comms fall off even more than they maybe already do. And that is when I start to feel a bit worried for them. So if CAG get off to a flying start here, the momentum might just carry them all the way through to the finish.
Oh, you can taste it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you can feel it on the
We
wind.
love a close game.
We need a close game. Again, anything else, and I feel like it wouldn't do justice to either of these two teams. I don't think people expected BDS to be in this position.
Nope. I thought they'd be one of the clear-cut winners who are through to the live stages, and that's maybe where they falter in the quarters or the semis, not, you know, early on against, it sounds bad, but APAC teams, you know, falling potentially, well, having already fallen to PSG Talon, and now maybe to Cyclops. God, you'll never live that down. Imagine.
We're never going to live it down.
EU Super Team losing to Japan and Korea, lol. Like, that'll never go.
Every single time I've walked into the green room, James has been like, oh, technically APAC is the best winning right at the minute at the major. That's not how James sounds.
He did also tell me that on Twitter he does it for a little bit of engagement.
Yeah, I know, but then he does it in private to us.
Yeah, he's been all right with me so far. Not like Carter. Carter came around when Beast Coast won their first map and was just like 7-2, 7-2. I was like, I don't care, man. I've got this game on the go. Watching BDS smoke CAG on Cafe. It's fine. And look at how that turned out.
Well, it starts here with the chance. CAG getting a bit of a step in, and it's Shuriep that finds Solotov. As I said, he had a better step up in the previous map, but here the Flores, a huge utility drive for BDS and a lot of teams on towards this basement. Gone. That shield now going to be a lot more protected, and you're kind of wondering what got the catch that early on and if it was worth the taking. Shuriep obviously took some damage as well, so he wasn't entirely unaware of the fight engagement. But
Breeder got C4'd through this yesterday, by the way.
Did he use this? Burn his ankles?
No, they were literally standing underneath on the Talon side this is, and just waiting for him to open up enough of a gap that they could C4 him through and just kill Breeder. And I was like, that is beautiful. And definitely not something you'd see back when we didn't have, of course, the projectile throw lines. Now that you've got that, it's a lot easier to pull off some cheeky stuff.
Was Doki saying that now that those lines are in, he's 100% on some of his C4s?
Yeah, I was on Consulate Garage, 100% kill rate on the Maverick.
Line them up now. It's so simple, and this could be a simple approach. It forces Black Gray into a slightly stickier position. There's the hatch that will probably get burned through behind him.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows about that actually being done above him, so he might lose his life there if he's not too careful, but by the way, he's taken a couple of shots indeed. So he's got to be really mindful here and respectful of the fact that they might just get above him. He's going to be in trouble if he hangs around for too long, but he really wants to punish Shaiko.
Shaiko has to wait, but look at the time. 40 seconds, they haven't been able to remove the player. Black Gray's fishing with a shotgun, but I mean, it takes a shell to connect, sure, but it's a little bit too far away. He's hoping they'll step in. Now's the step in, a lot more damage done to him.
He's still holding.
Than anywhere else. He hasn't given up because 30 seconds, if he can get this, the swing around the corner has won. It's still a dangerous position to play. EFAC caught out, Users gets dropped on the back end on Laundry Stairs, and everybody's dead apart from Shaiko, and a frustrating start here for BDS. They just could not get the pace required, and again, the loss of the Flores, the loss of the utility drone, meant that they just kind of had to do this, send it down, Laundry and Freezer Stairs.
I got a good joke for you here, Emmy.
Yeah,
I'm still writing the punchline, so you'll have to just hear the start.
Okay.
How many BDS players does it take to clear Freezer?
Too many.
3 in that round. I haven't got a punchline.
All right.
It's not really a joke.
We'll workshop.
It's in the works.
It's not really a joke, it's a sad fact.
Yes, there were 3 of them pushing over there. You had Brede, Shaiko, and Leakifak, yet they got held up by a single smoke. Now, smoke, yeah, can waste a lot of time. We all know that's what it's there for. But the fact that there's no push from above, there's no flashes coming in through the security hatch to help on that push forward, means he just sits there, plants his feet, and goes, okay, then are you guys going to push me? You got 3 of the most storied players, well, Leakifak maybe less so, but Shaiko and Brede, 2 of the most storied players in the world pushing into you, and you're holding them off for like 60 to 75 seconds. Like, how does that happen?
There was just everything still standing from a utility side there. You had both the 2 shields, the one watching out towards barrels. It's a very aggressive position. It doesn't just, it means that they cannot get anywhere close to starting the utility pressure properly on towards E-Box. Yeah, the hatch might get open, but the position is still locked in. They cannot get the wall open, which means they cannot get clean control of Pillar, or at least force that player. So it's just the cost. It is the only option they had left, but still. First round, those go either way.
Obligatory excitement when you see this lineup coming out of BDS required for this site, I believe. Amaru, we all dream of seeing a fly in through the kid's window there and look to cause absolute chaos. No one needs to go to. Sometimes you get inside a big town like you're seeing right now for a quick entry in case someone is lurking around, of which there is no one. But when you pair it up with the DKB and with the Lion, that just screams to me, this is going to be a chaos-based execute. They want to be calling in, they want to be getting the EE1D out, they want Leakifak to fly in somewhere, they want nades to fly all over the shop. There's a little bit of prep work to do before then, but that's what BDS want to get to with all 5 players alive.
Very quick on towards the attic pressure. The Claw wasn't even able to stop it, and you're wondering if this was the attempt at the trick against it, or just not quite being in the place to play the utility at the right time. Either way, it's a bit of a punishment. Sure, they'll take a bit of damage as they go through, but the wall is open. That's the big risk. Shaiko steps in, steps out. The controller's coming on towards Armory, and they've got the player on double window.
Solotov's the only one who's got AMPs here as well. The micro AMPs in the back pocket of the DKB is what they really want to be using to try and get this walk-in wardrobe wall open. For now, it's staying closed. Solotov has got to work his way across. Thankfully, he's not going to get picked off. There's one lurking around below to really upset the start of this round, admittedly. But he's kind of the factor they need to get this round really moving. And so far, he's still hanging out inside of Armory.
They still have users on the back end of the double window outside the bedroom itself. They still have the rotate coming around, as you said, of Solotov to try and get...
It's taken like 45 seconds to get over here, though. It's going to be, again, burning more time. Admittedly, the rest of the team can keep moving, so Shaiko's gone in and got trophy here. Good point of control to have.
Yeah, Shaiko's just sort of begging for an engagement at this point. Has a lot of the tracks for them to try and play against it, but generally all the players are inside. The C4 won't.
Oh, they got the Escaros off.
Well tucked.
I think they keep it. The wall stay closed. Oh, just about goes up. Okay, enough of the sightline through it, but not enough that it's going to be open here. And I think they also got a nade on top of it too to get rid of anything else that was sat there blocking it out. But I don't know. I think they've got enough of it that they can hold this down.
Shuri rebuilds, but he's about to get swung. There it is. Pretty easy pick up there by Shaiko on towards the foosball table. The Tiburow will keep them with that position for slightly longer, and it'll probably buy them enough time to keep this wall solid for all of this execute. Tsireneko stepped up, keeping the sort of calm control, but the pressure is on the swing towards foosball table. Anaton is that lockdown on the single door. He's pressured from behind. They have, I think, the rotatable hole on towards it, and Bride's starting to try and make his way around. There's the start of the pressure, as you said, but it's dropped. Anaton gets evac. There's the trade and the pressure. Users takes a lot of damage, but is able to win it out of 2 versus 3 in the meantime. They're still trying to force their way around the corner of the fight and think about where the kit is. Oh, that's sort of in no man's land. As soon as it stepped in, it was dropped rocked and right back out the door. Solotov all the way towards the top white with 10 seconds left. He's about to walk into the first engagement that they're offering to him. A great exchange, and they went out on the Shaiko kill as well. They're just pushing for the fight. He's on the back end. But 1 versus 1 with a Diga! Yeehaw! Pop that revolver and pop off!
Wow. Remember I said yesterday there was that 1v2 from Misa that shouldn't have been won? That may be that round we talk about at the end of this game that shouldn't have been won. Wow. I can't believe it. It keeps on happening.
Shaiko can't believe it.
He looks pissed off.
Think about what they had at that point. Shaiko had started to plant. Solotov had gotten that first fight, and they knew where the last player was. If Solotov has stepped back, Shaiko could have finished the plant. It's just 1 versus 1.
You know what wouldn't shock me? Someone has called there, push, kill, go for kill. Because you got to say kill, 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 go for that last man. It's a 2v1.
Yep.
Or we plant and you hold cover. You have to make one of those calls. Whether that was a missed call and they disagreed and there was a little bit of misalignment, I don't know. But it was enough that he got 2 separate 1v1s.
This is it.
Look,
they both
so out of sync with each other. It's so unfortunate, but... Oh. Pop off, Black Crane. You go, King.
Frustration. Frustration on a roster that is still developing those calls, and that is where you are going to see it the most. In that final chaotic 5-10 seconds. If you've ever watched back on teams play, listen to those moments. Even if it's all in a language you've spoke your entire life, you'll miss a lot.
Wow. But that came down to the clock. And think about what I spent. I highlighted that it took a good minute, 75 seconds or so, for us to see Solotov move over, the only player with the EMPs to help get that walk-in wardrobe opened. You might look at that and go, well, it's not a big deal. They've still got it open. Every second counts, whether it's the first or the last in Siege. If you run the clock down that far, you can win on time. As we've just seen, Black Ray won that 1v2 because the time had BDS under pressure.
Which is weird because of how quick they were at the start.
Yeah.
Instantly getting the single breach onto it, instantly getting Shaiko the pressure in bedroom, and you just wonder, where's this disconnect? Tsireneko, he's not going to stick around and find out what happens.
Oh, he is.
Well, it is.
Well, he's committed now.
He's committed to that single position, and Solotov's going to drone it out. They should be able to force this. Ooh.
Oh, do they know he's up here?
They're trying to find out. I think they
nice.
did, but hits the drop, gets out of there. The wall is open, and they can set themselves up for a hold. Now, the Glaz still cursed. Let's find out.
Trust me, he is. I mean, the beauty here is they've started a really good classic meeting execute, right? I think every time I've seen this site so far at this tournament, it has been a dining side push instead. That has been the focus for teams. They prefer the real long ranges that come from there because meeting becomes a little bit of no man's land. Admittedly, the Azami is going to change that here, but that's why they've got the Flores on side. They can shoot through it. Maybe here, even get 2 for the price of 1. No, it's going to get itself disabled. That's what the bulletproof can be quite handy for. So actually, a pretty good setup here, I think, so far, Cyclops, but they're trying to make it happen. These ahead. It's all he needs, and everyone else has fallen. Only 2 left standing, Anaton and Black Ray.
It's where you don't wear a high ponytail in a combat situation. It's just easy to spot. There's a swing that's also very easy to spot. And a 5 versus 1. The C4 will stop the plant.
Okay, nice.
But
You got your one. You got your one.
They know exactly where Black Ray is.
And where he's going to come from as well.
Yeah, they can just move the plant towards the opposite side of the room. Cyreneko, not Cyreneko, I'm sorry, Shaiko. Similar letters, different order.
Yes. Yes. A lot of S-name players, actually.
Yeah, a lot of S,
Sharif,
a lot of
Shireneko,
I.
Solotov. Keep going.
It's like Azami, Aruni, Amaru.
Oh, we had a right moment on the TriCast yesterday when me, Fresh, and Tim were casting. For some reason, I forget which one Fresh said he always mixes up. But for me, it's Bandit and Blitz. I think because they're both yellow, both Bs.
Both German.
Sometimes they just mix the two up completely, and I'm just like, honestly.
Amaru, Azami.
Oh, that's a silly death. And so is that one, really. But these are the small mistakes that I think, you look at a team like BDS and say you wouldn't really catch them making those kind of mistakes themselves. But the same with PSG Talon yesterday. The guys were asking me in the green room earlier, how would you describe the game? And I said, really, it felt like PSG Talon were in control in every aspect. Mistakes they made got rightly punished, but they always found a way to course correct.
Yep.
In the same way in the last round, Black Ray was the one who course corrected for his team making mistakes elsewhere. And that round there is one they will have to come and bounce back from, no doubt, because 2 easy deaths there that really shouldn't be given away.
Of the 3 rounds, this was really the only one that Cyclops held the pace on. Now we'll get to see how much of it was dependent on a single mistake and how much of it was dependent on just not really the tape that would work against this hold. There's been slight adaptations from both sides, really, but you've still got the main core on the left-hand side of the screen. The driver, the Flores drones, to put the pressure onto all this utility inside the play and the chance of Brede against the hatches, against the work with the Maverick. They know how they like to do their main core of their approaches. If they can get an early strike onto one of these Cyclops players, as they did in the previous round, that could start to build towards, again, another solid take here for BDS.
There's a crazy timeline that builds here if BDS loses as well, where Secret are the last EU team. Like, what? Anyone who predicted that, fair play, I'd pay you the prize money myself. It's absolutely ludicrous to think that you wouldn't see big names. We think about G2, we think about BDS, ITV have been playing great. We're missing some obvious names in like VP and Wolves as well, but Secret being the last remaining EU team, the only one to make main stage, would be one hell of an outcome.
Quick pace and clearance here over the top. They're going for this pinch. As I said before, if they can get the single target player, set themselves up for the 5 versus 4 on the execute, BDS are going to work that very, very well. Black Ray takes the head off of Licky Fack, and both players all fall back from above. They had some of the cover of Anaton, I think, was just watching at the back of the hatch to make sure nobody suddenly appeared. But with the buck gone, slightly different cost of utility. And I think as long as Solotov, he's keeping himself much safer around the back end this time. I don't know if he's been able to get rid of anything with his existing Roteros. There was a shield on the swing there of the Shaiko spot.
Should have called those in Teros.
Probably in Teros, they should make a skin with his little face on.
That's a terrifying nightmare.
And imagine
nightmare-inducing outcome.
And if my impression of Parker is like, and that's the sound it makes. It like rolls up.
Honestly.
Hey, it's me, Parker Mackay.
I'm that guy.
I'm in Tero. It's like he's here in the room with us.
I had to turn around just then. The big thing about this round, it's worth noting, is once they got that opening kill onto Leaky Fack, everyone could afford to fall back. You're in a 5 versus 4. You've got rid of the buck. Sure, not the most effective operator for this site. There's no soft flooring to worry about downstairs. And sure, why not shoot out your own drone? That's the last one that's gone as well. I don't think there's a shield left standing at this point.
No, it was on the Shaiko swing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
But it's gone. You can see the massive explosion radius where it's gone.
I think there was an FNAT around some point. That might have been what they were trying to get rid of there.
Harry Potter player.
There's the pressure. They're inside E-Box. They're going for the drop. Chibisu could try and lock down with the shotgun, but it's Cyreneko that gets to use this. Black Ray does go down, and so does Solotov. Threw himself into smoke. 2 versus 5. They've got freezer control, and they've got the first player. Shaiko's looking for the second, but they're not moving. Look where the kid is. It has to get past this line of Cyclops players, so Shaiko has to force the movement. 10 seconds.
They haven't got to do anything here. Just let the clock run down and hold your angles. Wait for them to push in towards you, because again, you're going to have to see these last 2 players move at some pace, make some calls there all the way through. They find one. Anaton hits the deck as well. Shuri, last one left standing. All he's got to do is survive. And yet again, the clock is going to help CAG get it over the line. 3-1. And it was at this point yesterday when heads really started dropping on the BDS side.
Frustration.
I feel so much for Shaiko, because you ask any player in competitive Siege, and really anyone who watches the game, who is the best player in the world for your money? Pretty much everyone says Shaiko. Sure, other players come and go, but Shaiko's currently 5-2. He's leading his team overall, and sure, he's had a quieter stage, but that's far from the end of the world, I don't think. Like, he's still a massive player that years on is putting up consistently amazing performances. But, and I'm not to say it's all his teammates' fault, but it just never quite works out for him to go on and win a massive event. Yes, they won Yonchiping, but again, to me, that was kind of the forgotten major. You want to win something bigger than that.
You want to win something...
You want to win an SI.
You want to win an SI. You want to win something that people remember. You want to win in the same way we've seen XG2 rosters win.
Yeah.
You want to win in the same way we've had Furia just dominate a year's worth of Siege. You want to have something that etches alongside your name of, are they the greatest in the world? Here is a list of my achievements, not just here is a sort of single one on the main circuit. Now, obviously, there are tournaments, minors, and majors and places outside of it, but in the main circuit, the main feeder series of Siege towards Invitational, you want to hold that hammer. You want to be in the next animation if they do another one.
Yeah. Tokyo never let that one drop.
Oh, that was... They all look great. I mean,
it's a bit like...
I want to be animated.
It's misrepresentation. He's a bit too tall in that video, to be honest, isn't he? He's like the same height as everyone else. I'm like, what that's all about?
That's why you want to be animated as well.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. No other way I'm going to grow any taller, is there? Them boots are still on, aren't they? I don't know.
I'm
okay. I feel my fragile male ego is restored.
Aww.
Just want to stress as well, in case you are wondering what other game's going on right now. On the B stream, we have Bleed against M80 just getting underway on Cafe. M80 are currently up 3-0. Started out well there. I mean, they really rolled their way over ITB yesterday. It could prove to be a similar story here against Bleed. So catch that one as well if you want to. But really, you don't want to turn away from this map on Oregon. It's the third map. It's the most important. It could be BDS getting knocked out by an APAC team after losing to one yesterday. What a story that would prove to be.
Bleed and M80, that is a promotional game as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, of course, because Bleed went 2-0, didn't they?
Both of them are 2-1 currently. So they would find themselves, whoever loses that, playing the winner, or maybe the winner. They're in the same pool. I don't know the maths.
Well, I'll take Bleed versus CAG, a real throwdown.
Oh, imagine that.
Chaos.
3-1. CAG, they have a good groundswell, and BDS have no more timeouts between them and maybe the rest of this major. It is all down to 5 players in the server at this point. Stuflex cannot do anymore.
I was looking back at the outcome from the game yesterday, and BDS won the first attack and then went on to lose 3 defenses, right? That's when they had the attack timeout. So we're basically in an identical situation right now. A slight scrambling of the exact round order in terms of who's won what, but scoreline attack timeout is the same. Straight to the floor, not quite finding his man, but almost getting him there as well. Worth noting, after that attack timeout yesterday, it was a BDS round win and then a PSG Talon round win. So it ended up being 4-2. Will it build to be the same? Will it repeat itself?
That's that point. Chibisu was sticking around a little bit to try and find the end of that fight. Here's Shaiko putting the pressure up, and we sort of commented on and complained about how long it took them to get the pressure on towards Laundry in the end, which became their only point of ingress. Here, the focus is elsewhere. Remember this position in the 1 versus 2 and how important it was. They're forcing that to become more uncomfortable for later on, but they haven't been able to net a reward for it yet.
Again, it's been a long time here. A minute 45 has gone past before Solotov's inside of Kitchen, blowing out that floor from below, so suddenly it's uncomfortable to play inside of Kids. And that's what kind of worries me, to be fair, is things have been slow across a couple of rounds here. And I don't necessarily say it's not part of the game plan. It could be, but at least from my observing eye as a caster, it looks a little bit strange that things have been so slow. And Solotov's been at the center of both of those delays.
So Shuri was droned out of the back of green. It's a quick send and a quick denial. Anaton C4 stops the approach from top white, uses his Candelas, net nothing at this point. They're just trying to shove their way in towards the site and see if they can get the pocket. The Damos underneath in the back and forth sort of fight, but they're still so happy to lead into it. Cyclops don't want to stop the engagements. Chibisu does finally get down by Bride. They're inside, putting the pressure on, and Solotov gets caught as well. There it is, back and forth, but Users inside with the kit on the back end, but the timer, Derry. 10 seconds for them to try and cement the plant. The C4 from Black Ray should get the catch, and there it is. Nobody can get to the position and hold F in time. Cyclops, 4 rounds, 1 for BDS. They take the round after the timeout. But how many of these rounds have been within 5 seconds left?
I've got another joke for you.
I'm so ready to hear it.
How many BDS players does it take to clear kids? Oh, sorry, run out of time for the joke.
Oh.
That one's got a punchline at least.
You're getting better. You're getting better.
I don't get it. Like you've got the Buck on side, you've got Shaiko with the Vendetta at the ready. Yeah, Shibishu should be dead to rights. You've also got pressure coming in from the double window. Like he should be dead, but it's taken what, 2 minutes and a lot of chaos and utility to get anywhere near removing it. And when they do it, there's an immediate response on the other side. It's just absolute madness watching BDS struggle with what feel like what should be
A reload one tap. Is that on the bingo?
I'll just be sick. That was vile. But again, it comes down to them taking too long to do the prep work. They knew that last time round they lost the kids, they put all the focus there, and they lose to the clock again. This is madness. This is a slow BDS, Emmy, and my word, are they paying the price?
4-1.
Production just came on mic and went, I like that joke.
Cyclops. At least somebody does. Cyclops.
You enjoyed it.
I did. You're getting better. I said that.
I'm working on it. Wait till the next one. The third one will be a real script.
You're going to be so funny by the time you get back to Tim.
I hope so. He won't find me funny, though. He never does.
He'll be like, all right. So this was the one shot BDS have won in this showdown so far. They have a chance to double it down instead of going towards the dining side. CAG think that they can alter things, but it was a 5 versus 1, so it's got to be a pretty big alteration. BDS, in the meantime, they're going for a take around the back end. They've put the pressure here onto trophy side instead of tower first. They're trying to find the catch. Solotov from range. Shaiko holds the rotate, does a fair bit of damage, but as the rebuild comes through, it's actually caught out, and there's 2! Black Gray finds Usus, and it's sort of falling apart here on the trophy side. The only ones being put up on the walls
Shaiko's
at the EU side. Solotov, he's surrounded.
Shaiko is so chalked. Like, full mental send. There's jump outs coming through. That's a nice kill, nice spot to know where the window is below, but the damage is done. It's 2v4 on the attack. This is grim.
Sharif's just out of there. He knew Solotov wanted the chase. He's just hot-footing it towards tower. BDS tried to alter their approach from how successful it was last time. They thought, well, let's go for the B take on the backside on trophy. And it's the B take for a reason, it seems. It obviously came down to engagements, something BDS are very good at. But now they're desperately trying to find one. Black Ray gets Brine! A 5-1 ha!
Chalked. That is the face of a man whose mental is gone. If not, at least on the brink. And we come back to that earlier conversation. Who is the mood uplifter when things are down like this for BDS? You watch CAG get smashed about quite a lot, and they still stand there and they're having a laugh and they're joking. You very rarely see them looking downtrodden, like they're out and finished and nothing is going to improve for them. They always fancy it until the last second. And that'll be the question, I think, that now comes to BDS. You've got the players, you've got the team play, you've got almost everything you need. But the mentality is what appears to be missing. Should we see that? Filth, I love it.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Let's go back under the way at the very least. Still, they are going to be on cloud 9 right now. And we spoke about this at map start. If Cyclops can build a bit of a lead, if heads start dropping on the BDS side, Cyclops have that momentum. They've only got to pull off a couple of attacks. I mean, they might not have something like the Monty on side, but there's other shields they can make use of, and I'm very sure Anaton, if he really has to, will think, you know what, guys? It's blitz o'clock. Let's make it happen.
It just takes one round to put them on the precipice of going home. BDS. It's not quite at that moment yet, and you're on your Oregon defense, but that tertiary site, if that falls both times.
What's going to be their the exhibition office site on this map then? Where are they going to find themselves losing to CAG no matter what they do? Honestly, watch them just win basement, which is like our most played site this whole tournament so far, and also one of our most successful defensively. Watch it be the crux, the Achilles heel, sorry, for BDS. Usus at least got himself really dug up inside Big Tower here as well. Got, of course, the FNAT mines down in case someone comes swinging in. We've seen none of that so far at a Cyclops. We have got 3 players circling around Big Tower right now, 2 out towards construction. So a very big focus, at least initially, on getting bunker control and getting Big Tower control. Then you'd hope to see 1 or 2 players rotate off. Look at Meeting Hatch, for example, looking towards Freezer. Not forgetting Freezer was where they really held BDS up, and we'll see if they can do the same back the other way.
Solotov takes a fair chunk of damage on the back end, holding onto the foosball table. They have an extension across a fair bit of the map itself, but this, EFAC, if they don't know about him, which they don't, ooh, but they don't quite get the full fight, and he somehow rotates past and out.
Those are not shots that BDS have been missing this series. It's more been CAG missing those, but this is why, like I said earlier, it didn't matter about PSG Talon yesterday making mistakes or not. They always found a way to kind of overcompensate and course correct. Now BDS are making mistakes. This starts to feel even easier for Cyclops.
At this point, this first engagement is Shaiko's.
Nice.
Screams his way up the stairs, gets rid of Black Ray and goes to a position.
Who caused the distraction there? Because someone pulled Black Ray's attention in towards Meeting by the looks of it. It's weird because Anaton had control of that room, so I'm not sure why he wasn't watching stairs, but hey, there you go. Mistake compensated for.
A bit of the damage, a bit of the attention onto the hatch itself. They sort of have the problems that we had before, but here comes the biggest problem. EFAC gets 1, goes for the second, but he'll be so happy getting 1 on the swing round after the missed moment before the Candelas. They're going to throw themselves in for the shot and force it with a pistol.
Nice.
Shaiko gets eliminated, but remember that EFAC now has that vertical control, so they have to kind of keep themselves away from this position and keep moving down on the pockets of Blue. He's waiting for the retake that's about to hit him on the shoulder. Does he know? Ooh, Shurip really wants the engagement. Remember last time there was a bit of not knowing, and there it is. The vertical's theirs, the sight is theirs a little bit. They've got the first foot in. Users steps himself in to try and rebuff it, goes for the retake on towards Elbow as Anaton tries to shuffle the kit. The pillar is where Solotov has rotated to as well. They're either side of Anaton. They've got the swing. Solotov gets the drop. Shurip gets the trade.
1 to go.
1 towards highway, but look at the time. 3 seconds. They gotta send it. Users repackages out and holds the line.
If that's going to stir some fight into BDS hearts, that has to be the moment. Never count him out. Wow. Him and Shaiko especially, those 2 players that you just look at and know moments like that can come out of anywhere. And BDS probably feeling their own a little bit of fortune here. Great little play of Solotov to get the down initially, which then forced the kill. Let's go after the last player. Go kill. And to be fair to CAG, there was what? Like a millisecond there between the swings, but Users just nets it perfectly. Well played 1v2. BDS keep themselves alive, otherwise it's 6-1. Now don't fancy their chances of winning 5 rounds back to back.
This might be the answer to the question we've asked. How do they energize themselves?
Just watch this again, because this is cinema. Oh, the flick, man. He's being shot before he's even flicked towards the left. And like we said, Leakifak is the most noisy player. He's the one gassing him up when he's pulled that off.
But remember where they were as well. For all the heat that was bought.
I'm not gonna lie, like even looking at that, that's an exact example of the problem. Like your teammates just pulled off an unbelievable 1v2 clutch to keep you in it. And instead of congratulating him, you're kind of breathing a sigh of relief like,
we're not on that point.
You know what I mean? Like that is the... Maybe it's Shaiko's greatest weakness is that Achilles heel of the mentality.
Solotov wanted something from there, but it wasn't quite offered to him. But as I was sort of saying, remember where they were. It was a 5 versus 3 for a portion. There was the swing up the stairs. There was the loss of the player on the hatch itself. Cyclops did the best they could possibly do of saying, look, it's going away. Let's send it towards the site. They somehow fought it from that situation and not having the vertical into a 2 versus 1 with a few seconds left. At this point, will they try and net a cleaner opening? They've got a very keen drone game. They've got eyes pretty much everywhere, but nobody is close towards entering as of yet, apart from Shurip, who's sort of waiting for a 3-2-1 go, wants to hit maybe a rotating player background.
He must know about Trophy.
Or Users.
Oh, no. I thought he was going to try and get himself bolted in, but of course you got to break through the whole barricade, so it's not quite so simple, but you know there's going to be a Trophy player, so I think the right sort of idea being shown there, they might have to try and crack it more conventionally there by pushing in through bedroom. Where are they rotating away to? 2 up in Big Tower. You've got Chibisu with 1 other plane down south towards bedroom. So the little split coming in between that north side and the north side and the south side divide. But where's the fifth? I've missed the fifth player. Where's he hovering? Oh, there he is. Vibing.
On the roof.
Thriving, surviving.
Getting the solar energy.
Yeah, why not?
Letting them...
Charging up.
Oh,
although it has just dropped off the building.
Yeah.
Taking about, what, 25 HP of damage.
That's
nice
a bullet. All right,
That is a bullet.
The pressure onto Trophy. Now, they are underneath, still in classroom. So EFAC with a C4.
Bullet,
Bullet. There it is.
There we go, beautiful.
Yeah, that's just a bit of a mistake moment there.
It is.
All their droning in, apparent knowledge.
And they make use of classroom themselves when they're on the defense. Let's not forget, like Jitsu's jump out, right? Those are kind of the moments you want at least a drone down there to know what's going on, because he has slipped the net at that point. Maybe it was a timing thing where Shironeko was the one sat on drones, and then as he's come off, he's made the move, in which case, beautiful timing from EFAC.
Well, the Candelas will get him some cross, but they have nothing else covered.
Nah.
At this point, this is a very solid BDS hold that Cyclops are trying to just throw themselves at because, well, things have gone out the window. I said it before, if plan A fails, you go to plan B sometimes.
Yeah.
Plan B sometimes isn't so good. At this point, when you lost your approach onto the hard breach, when you've now lost your Candelas as well, just hucking EMPs.
Great swing as well from Trophy.
Perfectly played. Cyreneko gets one for the stat padding, but at this point, that might even be the only one he gets. Yeah, BDS, 2 rounds in a row.
All right, is it the start of something special for the French side? That clutch breathing a little bit of a sign of life into them. May well prove to be. I think for Cyclops there, when you lose those first 2 players, the last 3 are kind of like, right, this is going to be hard to do. And Anderton wanted to kind of make a Hail Mary push. Did so without the other 2 players in flow, though, and ultimately found himself picked off. BDS played it out really well, just using the man advantage, looking to kind of make these... Yeah, I don't understand why he did the drop there either. I was just like, pull it, please, pull it. And sure enough,
Just
comfy 2K coming out. As soon as they knew the Maverick came onto that wall, that was the time to go. And it was, again, a few mistakes being made by Cyclops. The solo push coming out from Anaton, the no drone coming in below, costing them 2 players. Just little things like that working against them there. But BDS have played it all the way through from start to finish there in a very controlled manner. And it's still good to see that discipline's intact.
for how close Laundry was for putting us on the edge. Sort of becomes the conversation here of how close will this round get if CAG don't cement this. You get a little bit worried because BDS then have 3 rounds in a row. They've got a perfect rotation. They've got themselves solid ground to build from, which, let's be honest, when they were on the 5-1, they just didn't have. And it's a game of 2 halves, 100%.
If they win this offsite, then I think it's that round 12 becomes really, really ropey, I think. Yeah, because for BDS, you expect them to then go on and win the next 2. As you say, move up to 5 rounds overall. It's then 6-5 to CAG going into an offsite attack. They could 7-5 it at that point. They don't win this round, though. Overtime at the very minimum, I would expect. If you don't see something absolutely crazy, I mentioned you might see a blitz come out of nowhere from Anaton at some point. You know, yet to see that, of course, but it's only been a couple of rounds to date. More stays, they still will change as we go. That's why they're attacking though. Normally, again, you'd see a push coming in towards the meeting wall. That'd be the main focus to get it opened up. Not really going to be their point of entry or focus here. Instead, they want a lot of vertical control. You've got that ram on side. You've got a few breaching charges in pocket as well. But that means going through and clearing out the roamers that you often see stationed inside of kids. They'll drop through the hatch away towards safety. Now, whether or not you see someone on the side of CAG looking to punish them as they come for that drop through the hatch is a different conversation. That's why, realistically, BDS want at least some knowledge of what's going on inside of dining at the same time. Here he comes.
Straight through the FNAP mine, straight with the drive. Solitov suffers and what a great swing, but Users at least gets one on the back end. So it's not entirely flawless.
The Amaru's done the job, though. The surprise factor of bursting in towards site whilst also being swung from inside of the main area of that top floor is beautiful. Again, moments of team play that we wouldn't have seen from Cyclops historically is really giving them some great advantages going in. I'm pretty sure BDS will be happy coming out of that. They got themselves into a 4v4 and now have 2.
That was such an angle. I think that was towards the top of White Stairs, through the top of the breach of the server wall with an angle all the way up.
I've seen that a few times this tournament, actually. People use it really well, and teams just don't respect it enough.
Love it and I hate it.
You love to see it, or you hate to see it. Take
yeah. Users gets himself 2 for the round so far. A minute. They have the man disadvantage, but can they try and just peel a bit of space? Remember what they need to get the plant here. The pressure is on towards that slightly loose player on the side of the bottom of white. I was going to say they rotated themselves down towards the back end.
They just want to drop here,
holding on the corner, and that's it. The boogie drone.
For noise more than anything else, I imagine.
Oh, they're in. They're dropped. They're hitting barbed wire, and
they had no idea.
Picked up. Yeah, Users swings round, gets his 3rd, gets his 4th, gets his 5th. Users!
And look how chill he is. The man gets an ace and just goes, yeah, cool.
All right.
Round, I guess. I mentioned that 1v2 might energize them back into life a little bit, and I think you're seeing it across these last couple of rounds. I mean, that one there, Cyclops looking a little bit disjointed. And with it being the offsite, that's now where I feel a bit concerned for them. Is BDS are the ones fully on a roll, and Cyclops are probably thinking, tack timeout soon, maybe? BDS win this round, you've got 2 more to go. All things are even at 5-5.
This is that awkward point, right? Because there. Oh, I hate it.
Lovely.
When do you take the time out? I think a lot of people might think it's already too late.
You should take it here because you finished that quarter of the half. Like, I always talk about the game in quarters, like blocks of 3, because you tend to see 3 site rotations from most teams. They won't tend to replay a site, they'll just keep on rotating through the same 3. So once you've played 3 rounds of your half, you then know, okay, then what's that team been doing? What have we sucked at? And honestly, I think where Cyclops has struggled in those 3 rounds for me, and where the coach could really step in is saying, guys, our early round team play is fantastic. Like, we're really good at bursting in towards kids, for example, and clearing a player out of there. We had the ace out, we had the Amaru coming in, we had a swing coming from doorway. Beautiful. But from that point onwards, everything sort of fell by the wayside. Everyone was doing their own thing towards the end of the round. So those are the things they've got to course correct. And also, as we touched on in the last round, 2 silly mistakes, 2 freebies going over to BDS.
Yep.
You've had the same there with that vertical kill that we saw. And that's just a little bit of situational or map awareness that is costing them some silly rounds here, I'd say. BDS are playing it well, but Cyclops could have kept these rounds much closer.
We might be tied up very quickly, and at that point, remember, the coaches of both teams get to communicate, and that's why they haven't taken it yet. I think they maybe should have even taken it before the tertiary. Sort of say, look, we should win this site. We have a bit of advantage here. Let's get that conversation in, put the pressure on, and put ourselves onto map point. Guarantee it. But, again, it's down to the teams, the players, the preference. Chibisu finding the slow catch round. They're hoping that they can maybe try and force these loose players into waiting engagements. Talking of waiting, that's Shurip on the back end.
Hoping someone rotates back through kitchen. It's quite a common way to rotate from shower up through kitchen, then towards green, or vice versa.
Oh, but Efak.
Oh,
it's
Efak
ring around the rosies. Shurip does he nosies?
Oh, dear.
No, this is about to be a freebie, I think.
Hasn't got a clue. No drones on there, no one watching it on the backside, no one flicking through those, and they pay the price. Again, these little mistakes are costing CAG.
Ooh, Cyrenaica does find Shaiko in the same second. Black Ray's about to find a fight as well. They're sort of getting themselves into these 1 versus 1 engagements, but it's how aware they seem to be. BDS seem to have a lot more knowledge currently, and this is going to be that tell. They had the pings on the players, but removing the usage. Solotov waiting for as long as possible. If he wins out this one up top, could be a bit decisive. He starts to make his motion. Black Ray is headed down towards Attic. He's eyes towards the tower itself.
He's miles away now.
And now he's gone. He has left the fight, and that allows Solotov to start to move. Look at Efak. He's coming up the bottom of the stairs. They're trying to pinch the player. Efak gets the kill. Chibisu uses some pre-day. Suddenly find ones of their own. And it's just Anderson.
Like, I guess I should move. And it's a comfortable close. And there's the energy. That's the first time I think I've heard them properly shout as more than 1 player as well.
Yep.
Like, we are probably, what, 30 meters away? They're behind a bunch of curtains, but we can still hear them over the top of the roof. It's very bouncy in here. It's why we hear everything that seems to happen. But that's the first time that I've actually heard BDS through my headset giving a good cheer when they get around over the line. They believe the comeback is on. You need to have that belief when you're 5-1 down, though, boys. Not when it's already 5-5. It's easy to believe when you're already at the end of that journey. Now we're at 5-5. CAG, they call in that tack timeout. He said maybe we should have seen that a little bit sooner, but either way, it's better now than never.
It should have been loads sooner. I'll be honest. I think at this point, there's so much momentum that BDS have built without their coach. If you are down in your seat, if you're sitting back and your coach is trying to get you up, that's a lot tougher than if they're forward, like, look, let's get into it. Let's go. I can do anything right now. Let me fight the world.
Both teams just suck at attacking, I guess. That's how things have settled up so far. I'm going to go and try and find out who starts on defense in OT, because that is going to be very interesting.
Well, we start here on dorms. It was a 5-1. It was almost a 6-1.
BDS start defense, OT.
And BDS start defense on overtime. CAG need to take one of these last 2 to get themselves there, but even then, from how far they have come, from how quick they can be, from how well they fought in the second map after the first, how far can they go?
It's weird for us. I find myself sitting here, obviously as an EU caster, BDS are one of our teams, and we all want to see them be successful. You know, this EU super team, everyone wants to see Shaiko's name up in lights. He's that good a player that he deserves to be there. So do several of the others, like Users is absolutely flying this series so far. But a part of me still really wants to see CAG come out and do this, because it's the underdog story. We love nothing more than an underdog here in the UK, and to see CAG come out and be that surprise team, that's the dream. But it's definitely a conflict. I don't know which way to lead. It's so hard to call with, you know, no more than 5 rounds max still to play. Loser goes home.
What was the conversation? They probably knew the site pretty comfortably. I think at this point, you're not going to risk it, BDS. You're not going to risk OT. You're instead going to say, let's get there.
Yeah, I think for CAG, it's again those correction of mistakes that keep costing them silly little deaths here and there. Like, you know, no flank drone on Leaky back in the last round. The vertical kills that we saw. Just the little silly moments where they're losing players for no real reason. They're essentially dead kills. You have no option to shoot back, but you're just losing players. It's like playing the round with a handicap, essentially, and it's not going to help you out. So tighten things up, better drone work, more team playing. There's 4 of them coming in through Small Tower here together. Much better than just when we had only the Capitale coming in last time, for example.
They have eyes on the approach here onto Shower. They've stacked themselves up as a team, as a unit, and they're going for this. The pressure on the control of the bottom white. And the control of Z as well. Still okay, curious decision.
Nade your own tracks, I guess. I mean, they're still going off, so it's okay, but...
Solotov.
Oh, they're all dead on stairs? Yeah, brilliant, okay.
All right.
Not too sure about that one, Chief.
Solotov.
Why nade your own tracks? It's not like a team error.
Yeah, I mean, from the same person. There's Solotov somehow winning it out, and they had all the information. 3 players going for the fight, and they still couldn't get it. There's a great watch from BDS.
Vertical challenge. This is great because it stops the challenge onto security door itself, right? Which is why we saw then Solotov so comfortably taking a 1v1. Sure, and Echo thought teammates would be there with him, but BDS had just tripped them up that little bit. So again, that was more of a forced error from BDS, but still a small mistake that has cost them a freebie.
Well, Black Gray suffers.
Shaiko ain't moving. He's like, yep, free.
He's happy on his angle. He's looking for any of this approach now. They've still got the watch, and you're thinking, what are CAG actually gaining here? What are they putting pressure on? There's not really been any territory taken. Shaiko's caught from the double window. The pressure comes round.
I love that. They identified the problem that they couldn't push security doors, so they've moved the Capitale upstairs instead. Had him burn out behind the bunk bed, so he has to rotate out, and then someone's holding the angle. A good 3-man play coming through. But Solotov has now found a second. He stepped out into dining, working in towards Showers. And now that everyone else is still stuck upstairs, well, BDS have got free roam downstairs. They can put Brina down there with a C4. Leakifac's got one as well. This is going to be so hard for CAG to get over the line. This could be them lining themselves up to lose this game.
The jumping out, bouncing the pressure, an easy catch for Solotov, and, well, we hurtle into the 6-5 position from 5-1. We have fallen here.
2 halves to a game of Siege, Emmy. I say it all the time because it is so true. A team can be hitting all their shots in their first 6 rounds, they flick sides, and suddenly everything changes. And as much as BDS are playing this well, they're playing it by the book, they're playing as a team, they're doing really good stuff here. I think CAG will look at this second half if they lose this down and be saying, guys, this one's on us. We were up 5-1. Every round we had a silly mistake or two with players being shot at the back. A couple of nice shots, yeah, things like that. Great, you can definitely celebrate those. But lots of the silly little mistakes they're making here that is making them pay the price. They're not adapting fast enough, and BDS have got them figured out.
They have some energy behind them, BDS now, from head in hands to heads held higher, but it's only a single round. There's the distance, only a single round is the difference. And it is this accursed tertiary site. The approach last time was a bit tragic.
10 seconds remaining.
From the back end of Cyclops, there's these little moments.
5 seconds
And you're
remaining.
wondering, well, they've gone back to, I'm going to call it a little bit of default, the Oster plant. The attempt where you get control of Attic, of that crosswatch and Big Tower, you then get control of the stage itself, and you go for the plant onto it.
I don't know. I get it, but I think it might just be a little bit simplistic. Admittedly, only 2 impacts on side. Shaiko with those in back pocket, a couple of C4s. They can play from below if they want to. Seen some really cool C4s up through that meeting hatch recently that have, you know, almost turns around on the head. Other times it's been a 5v1 and you've got one cheeky kill. It was BlackRay did it earlier on, for example. But here, knowing that that's the intent, they've got to be so careful about how they get control of this big tower. A single mistake like this, if you're not droning things out properly, BDS will collect a scout for free here. And that would be the sign of the start of the end for me.
Where will this first engagement go? Where will this cross pull itself together? It's such a specific one to take. It's such a specific drive. The pressure on towards walking.
There's what more he can do. It's a slower start, though. I think they're very aware of themselves. Where BDS took things quite slow throughout this game. Across all 3 maps, really, at points. CAG have now kind of rolled a bit of that in themselves. Get on the drones. Be meticulous about everything. We do not want to be getting shot in the back. And it's almost too little too late that it's coming in round 12, but it is what it is. Just worried that they're going to run themselves down. I mean, they're pushing onto a different side of the map here. They're not even bothering me going on the meeting side, so this is a little bit different, Emmy.
Yeah, you sort of see the Ossa, you have expectations, and now as the pressure comes, the Ossa is gone! Solotov had the angle, the breach a second too late. BlackRay, he's trying to find his fight. As I said, the first engagement, they just leave, they drop users. He's not going to sit around and see what happens. Remember the ace that he pulled here last time. Solotov's C4 is a step out of step, but the sink, he's more than happy to keep dropping and then drop himself. Gone. BDS, they vacated the top floor and not given the chance to Cyclops to try and pull the fight back. The kit is above the hatch. Anaton does a lot of damage to him, but not quite enough. There's more forcing of Usus' position. Further and further back. Remember how he was able to get aggressive. Anaton gets the vertical on towards EFAC.
Do they know about Usus, though? I don't know if they know that he's inside of sight here. They've got tracks down. They want to make a drop happen. It's all on BlackRay to make this drop work and get the plant going on through. But Usus could be the X factor here.
He has been. The plant is being attempted. He's creeping round. It's 3-4. It's 3-2. They're able to win themselves out. There's 20 seconds. It's all down to Solotov to lock it out here and not go to OT. I said it was this site. Now it's the moment for the man to step up. We know what he's capable of. Do Cyclops. The plan is confirmed. The vertical is there.
No way.
Overtime.
No freaking way. How they pulled that one back is magic. Usus looked to be the man of the moment. Cementing a miracle series, 17-1 on the first map, going nuclear here on the third. If he wins that 1v1 against BlackRay, the game's done, I think it's over. But when they needed him most, he misses those crucial shots, and BlackRay, who hasn't had a kill, by the way, this entire second half, gets the only kill that matters. Overtime abound, BDS on the defense. The thing that CAG have now got to worry about is they are going to be attacking into basement and then into the top floor. They have not seen success there.
Attackers activated.
Wow.
CAG's run to get to this point has been against odds.
You didn't say the line, we're going all the way, Des, and everyone's very upset. We're not there yet, to be fair. It's got to be round 15.
Yeah, it's got to be round 15.
Yeah, we're going to overtime, Des, is when we end round 12, when we get to overtime. We're going all the way, it's round 15.
Everybody does the overtime line.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone
wants to hear it, and they want their name in it as well.
I don't.
You don't want to hear Tim saying, we're going to overtime, Emmy.
I don't like stealing other people's thunder.
You might hear it at some point this tournament.
All right.
Give it time.
I got time.
Oh.
So,
you know what we've got time for? About 10 minutes of Siege still to play.
I mean, what a surprise.
One team goes home, one goes through. As I mentioned, Usus has been the man of the moment, the man of the series. He's on 35 plus kills probably. He's been dropping bombs the whole way through. But that one kill, as I said, was the one that really mattered, and he couldn't get it when they needed it most. Now, Cyclops showed in that last round for me something we hadn't seen the entire half. A slower style of play, more methodical, better droning, not losing out to silly little deaths all the way through. And Leaky Fact surely isn't feeling that one. No way.
No.
You can't jump out that window anyway, but he would have got himself in a lot of hot bother.
I mean, let's sort of get the context of where we're at right now as well. They've got the two sites, they've got themselves to stack up here, and they've gone with a slightly different hole. He's in trouble, but so is Anaton. There's the spray through. Usus gets one, BlackRay gets caught as well, and they have fallen for the bait. As at least the trade onto Solotov. However,
the run-out attempt.
I mean, I think that was the cover. I think they sort of said, look, we're up here, come get us.
You know, this could be really smart. If they move fast enough here, there's only 2 players on site for BDS. You've got 2 still sat in Big Tower who probably should start moving away now and get the read. Okay, they aren't attacking Big Tower anymore. They're still there. There are 3 players on the side of CAG. They could just push in here and overwhelm with trades.
The one thing going into their favor right now for the side of
Okay,
CAG,
they're coming now. Good.
now they're coming over. For the side of CAG is that they still have at least the Hibana to try and get some of this progress and process made. But without the Thatcher, without the obvious, use of the Ying and the Candelas, they can't quite get the strike through. And, let's be honest, Ying is a very good operator for a lot of people, but it's also a very good operator for them. The quick play underneath. Remember how devastating Classroom was? So do they. Chibisu's in the position, getting some clarity over it and making sure that there's not another C4 to get a double. But BDS, 4 players on site. They have a man advantage and they are not risking it.
Yeah, also managing to get rid of the mute jammer there was the main focus, I think, for Chibi. So, as you say, no C4 to be endured this time around. Endured, probably the wrong word, more like decimated by. Sereneko's also worked his way up, making use of the smoke cover to get his way through this Kiva barrier at the top of white, but he's found himself picked off by Shaiko. Chibi's got to try and make some magic happen here, and equally, a shotgun at the ready. Down goes Shuri. It's going to be CAG losing out in this round. BDS up to match series and stage point, Emmy.
1 round separates Cyclops from going home. 1 round separates BDS from surviving another day. They're not out of the woods yet as a 1-2 team, but they have been truly tried and tested up to this point. To come back from 5-1 down to this position, this is that argument. They haven't won Laundry or Dorms at all today either, but remember when we talked about sort of karaoke and we talked about expectations, things led up, and then we talk about bucking expectations. This is that chance, this is that moment for Cyclops to take us to the brink.
It did come down to a close one in round 4 as well. There was only 1 player left standing on the side of Cyclops, so BDS probably feel that actually they're not miles off the mark here, that they probably can get this one done as long as they play it out similarly to last time. The one thing they've really got to avoid, though, is getting just bottlenecked in Freezer. Recall the really terrible half joke I told about Black Ray? Like, he held up 3 players for a good 75 seconds by himself on just a smoke with no real support from his team. BDS can't afford to get held up there again, whether it's attacking somewhere else, whether it's bringing an operator that can deal with that. Take your pick, you've got to do something about it. I actually like it. I think the Ying might actually be the answer to that as well. I mentioned last time, a flash coming in through the hatch might have been the play. No such flash came through. He was free to just blast away with that shotgun. Here, this might help.
It's also a different sort of drive with Solotov on the back end. Usually the Flores drone trying to get rid of pieces of utility and push behind it. This time, let's not play that game. Let's get ourselves in with a cemented take. The pressure in the take starts on the back end of Small Tower. They're not going to leave anything to chance. They know that they want to eyes up towards Freezer, and, well, that's going to be the start of it. Sereneko has an important job of not being blinded and being in the right place to take the fight, but sometimes when you're looking at 3 different staircases in the direct drive from Blue and how quick the pushes can come around them, it's not always guaranteed you'll be in that position.
Absolutely not. For now, things starting out relatively slow. I was going to say with no Hibana on side, you turn into towards those tin openers, as we call them. The Heartbreach gadgets in the back pocket of both Bride and Likafak here to get the 3 hatches opened up that you very sorely need. After that, well, that's what's really there, just there for decoration. Don't need it for much else beyond that point. Here we go. This is that focus that we spoke about last time, this Freezer push. What do they change to deal with this?
BDS are going to try and send it hard and heavy.
There's a second player behind Black Ray actually as well. I want to say it's the Warden in case. This is genius. They've read into the fact that we might get a Ying coming down, and they might just read into this.
But they cannot sit around. Remember the difference of Heartbreach. Last time that was Maverick lines, a very awkward fight. This time it's a fully opened window into the soul of anyone that splits. This is the drop. This is the fight. All of BDS sending it with the cover of the smoke, the quick play of those Candelas, the pressure to lean them in. Solotov goes down first.
On the call
they haven't
well.
been able to find it, and that's it. The blind close on the pocket. Efak, he's tucked in, but they spray blind, and he's a bullet. He somehow survives. It's Chibisu and Black Ray that get 1 apiece, but the kid is cold. Shaiko and Bride, all that's left in a 2 versus 3. They don't get the fleeing player onto elbow, but they have 50 seconds, a lot of time to rethink the structure, and there's not a huge amount of utility to stop it.
There is. They've got two of the stims they can bring out here. They've got smokes, they've got fire. They've still got something to make this happen, but it's not going to matter because Shiraneko is still alive. He's on the ward and he can deal with those smokes. It's not a massive deal.
He has to be in the right place, as called and prophesized before. And Shaiko, he's looking for the right to fight as well. The spray isn't full. As Bride goes for the cover, goes for the bait, Shaiko goes wide and wide. A great rotate is punished. They had them in the palm, and Bride is now watching those fingers close around. A single pop, a single push, round onto the fight. They're not handing it. It's a bulletproof that reveals all secrets and reveals us, Derry. We are going all the way.
We joked at map start that it deserved all 15, and we've got all 15. Imagine if Cafe wasn't a rollover. This could have been close to a 45-round series. It's absolutely ludicrous. We'll see 39 played out to see how this ends. And it comes down to this. One final round of Siege to see who goes home and who gets to say a big hello to that live audience, potentially. Wow.
I mean, every round.
The scary thing is you still got to play again tomorrow. Imagine how knackered you're going to be after today.
Every round is being fought for. Every round is being pushed to this limit.
However, look at where BDS are defending. We're down in the basement. One of the hardest sites to crack in the game. CAG have made so many mistakes time and time again. My voice is ready to go. They've made so many mistakes. Oh, I really thought he was going to stay it then. Whew. If he'd stayed on that blitz, I'd have been like, well, this is the time you choose to bring it out in the do or die situation. But no, back over on towards the Ying. Again, we've seen the effectiveness of it so often. Solotop becomes the key man, sat there on that Warden. And that's it, locked in, no blitz. Whew. A very similar line to what we saw coming out of BDS as well.
Very similar, and it didn't work for BDS. 7 apiece. Lickifak on a bit of an adventure, on towards the small tower. Now there's nobody too close to him, apart from the hold at the top of Freezer stairs, but Solotov is just going to make sure nobody suddenly appears behind him. Think about the times we've seen their extensions on towards Kitchen, on towards Server, the slight change of positioning, but also think about the punishment round that came around and they're not falling for it. Last time it was a rotate on towards the back of the Capitao. This time, no such luck. They are not going to give Cyclops the chance to hunt down the loose players. The Flores doing the work I talked about. BDS doing well before. It gets the shield first, gets the barb, gives them this option of quick pressure on towards blue.
BDS have drawn bans on the Flores before for how they play it, and now it's being used against them as well by Shiraneko. I said it earlier on, but that key thing for me in round 12 that made the difference was Cyclops slowed things down. Flores is very good for slowing things down. You've got 4 of those drones to go through. You're going to spend a good minute or two doing that. It means the rest of the team, as long as they're patient, as long as they realize what needs to be done in this round, which is what you'd hope Coach DD has helped them out with, will mean that they're not going to get themselves caught in any hairy firefights and start losing players at silly times.
The Candela's thrown from the bottom of white to get them the shower control. A minute 30 has passed. They still don't have the ability to truly get through those hatches as well, or at least they haven't got themselves close towards it. They've got the Thatcher and they need to make the work.
But Tiburao as well.
But Tiburao as well. It's such a time game at this point, and it doesn't leave them a lot of options.
No,
Look, they're clearing everything, pocket by pocket, but no one's there.
Why are they drone? I'm surprised they haven't droned this out, but it is completely clear. Solotov at least is holding deep freezer, but no one's playing close, and now they're going to be able to deny the hatch as well because they've got Lickifak coming over. BDS are running this clock down like champs right now, and you've got Shaiko potentially coming in from above too.
Well, there's the play, there's the Shaiko motion, and this is going to be the most important part. White stairs, the power position it is, and he wins out the first. Anaton
Ying's gone.
Drifting about, they pull back. Cyreneko's behind him. Cyreneko needs to act because the timer is 40 seconds and they're still finding fights on the top floor. 4 versus 4, 40 seconds, and they haven't got the hatches at all, but they have got themselves tucked into freezer. However, the space being cleared, 30 seconds, the pressure onto the bottom of the laundry stairs. Everybody is here, everybody is invited, and with 20 seconds left, your eyes can't be anywhere else. Solotov gets the swing onto Black Ray, a cacophony of explosions, and a swing round is traded back out. They're down. A 2 versus 3 technical with not a huge amount of time left. Sireneko doesn't have the confidence of the swing. 8 seconds. They're trying to get the pocket. Users gets 1. And BDS, they get themselves one more chance to survive. But only just.
Pushed to breaking point by Cyclops. Truly tested down to the last few gunfights in round 15 of map 3. And they just about get it over the line. You might look back at Shaiko there and say clearing out. That Ying was the difference maker in that last round. We've seen his head hanging low throughout this map, but that is just about enough to give them, as you say, one more chance tomorrow to make main stage.
Cyclops, a different beast to where they were, but unfortunately parts of their story are still the same. They just cannot find that final push over the line, but you have to give them compliments.
But they're still smiling, look.
I mean, they took tournament favorites to the brink. They took themselves further than a lot of people expected, and they take themselves out of this tournament with their heads held high.
That's exactly it. Honestly, the improvement in gameplay that we have seen from Cyclops, still a few errors, don't forget, in that second half around like being caught out still in silly ways, but that is a massively improved Cyclops team versus a year ago, and I think we're only going to see them get better and better as time goes by. This is a new era for Cyclops. They might not be able to make it through to the main stage here, but teams will come to fear them in future tournaments.
Heartbreaking, because they know how well they played, how hard they fought, and how far they've gone, but this is not the furthest this team will go this year, and I think we can all be confident to see them do the distance later on.
Completely. It's going to be one of those where you just know they're going to come back with a vengeance, and I said it already, the Japan League has been really competitive in the last stage. If you do want to come watch some fun Siege, it's a great place to be. It might be on early in the day, but it's so worth it. Anyway, interview ready with Solotov. Let's jump over to him now.
Thank you, guys. I'm joined here with Solotov. Congratulations on that win. I want to start off with, how are you feeling after this game? Because coming in today, did you expect it to be a 3-mapper with 2 of them going to overtime?
No, we were definitely thinking a quick 2-0. We prepped the game really well, but to be honest, they prepped really well as well, so it was a 2 overtime match point game. I don't know, we struggled against the APAC teams. It was like this before me and Users joined as well. Like, I don't know, BDS always struggle against an APAC team, and it's still the same. We need to get better against APAC teams. I just feel really relaxed right now, because the game was a bit too stressful.
No, everyone, like, the tension, you could literally cut it with a knife. Everyone just glued to the TV watching the game unfold, because it was down to 1 round. 1 round to decide whether or not you stay in the major. When you're sitting in that position as a player, as a team, what's going through your head?
To be honest, when you're in that position, nothing goes through your head. You just focus on winning the round. If it's in your head, you can't win the round anyway. So you have to be focused on the last round, get the win, then win the game. How
do you get to do that as a player? How do you just sit there and push that to the back of your mind?
I think it's just the experience, to be honest. I think at the start, of course, it's hard, but when you play in this environment a lot and get used to it, you just manage to deal with that.
Well, one more game that you need to win to be able to qualify for that main stage. Moving forward, what are you going to be changing up? What's the plan? What's the game plan?
What's the plan? We're going to prep like we did before. Nothing going to change. We will be relaxed. No pressure, nothing. Just focus on the playoff. That's it. Yeah, we need to chill a bit after this game. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate it. Get some rest. Congratulations. We're going to be heading over to the Telestrator with Fresh and Leo. So, guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ginny. And indeed, here we just want to highlight just how good CAG plays this game.
Yes.
Both strategically, but also in terms of collective, right?
Yeah, we want to be, they got close, and we want to give them the props for that. So we're actually going to start on round 2. And it's in the prep phase. Not normal that we'd start a Telestrator in the prep phase. This is Bride on the drone. He's put his drone outside the master balcony, and it's been hit by a mute jammer. Now, the expectation for BDS is because there's a mute jammer here and one in the closet, that they think, hey, it's going to be a master extension with the rotate, as we see that here, Leo.
Yeah, actually, you see that the rotate happens, and at the same time, Warden is reinforcing the wall. But he's not reinforcing the one next to it. And this is key, because it's something that you don't see very often in Ranked, and that you could reuse. It's having a flex reinforcement. The drone is still on the doorway, so they know and they feel like it's going to be a master extension. But the Warden comes in, gets rid of the drone, and then he goes back and reinforces the wall. So BDS is under the impression that it's still a master extension. In fact, it's not. It's reinforced off. It's turtled. The site is stronger.
And he's reinforced it after the end of prep phase. And what that means is BDS are locked in their operators. They've brought operators thinking it's a master extension, and they now get impact tricked by Shuri over on the Azami. What that means is that the breach that you can see here, it's not walkable, it's not vaultable. They cannot go through it, it's only a line of sight. And that's going to come back to bite them late when they can't push through it, which was their initial plan.
And this is a bigger problem now. You only have 3 entry points onto the bomb side. You have one here on the big window, you have one up white stairs, and one on trophy. And if you actually take a look at how they're set up, you have a perfect crossfire from every Cyclops player on every single entry point. They can just now play a 2v1 on every entry point. It's exactly what will happen here, Jack.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. Now, as the player walks in white, he gets traded, but it's the player that comes in big window down the bottom of your screen here. There's a nice pinch onto him by the CAG players, and ultimately, like we say, this was CAG with their strategy, with their late reinforcement, forcing BDS to do something different that wasn't their plan A, forcing them to think on their feet, and then punishing them when they did. It did then, I'll be honest, it did then come down to a 1 versus 2 clutch from Blackray, but it never should have got there. That was just BDS's individual skill getting us to this point. So, for us, I think even though CAG are out of this tournament, we wanted to praise them because they were always known as a team that got a little bit crazy, but their strategical depth has gone up like 10 notches in this tournament, and I think we will see them at future tournaments. However, that being said, after this short break, we will have a quick interview with BDS.